Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic, now TBC, and its community. I am Bobby, also known as Blazin' Bob, and today we are joined by Ryan, aka Cognitive Pit. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. I must not have been looking at the Discord call because I popped into this stream for a second. I saw you flex, and I was like, I didn't see you do that. So I'm doing great after a display like that. My spirits are up. I'm pepped. I'm hyped.
Oh man! And we're also joined by Mel, aka Melarina. How you doing?
Hello. I'm not flexing or anything, but not as hype as Yip today, but I'll get there, guys. Don't you worry.
Oh, I don't know if I'm even hyped. I'm like, anxiety has been at 150 for the past like 48 hours or 24 hours or whatever it's been. It's been rough. But we're also joined once again by Naismith. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back. And just for you, Yip, I am always flexing.
Yeah, I'll imagine that the whole time.
God.
Oh man, well, thank you for coming back on the show. And if anybody's curious about Naismith's background or anything, we did an interview with him towards the end of the show on episode 33. So make sure to check that out if you hadn't before. All right, a little bit of housekeeping. No new reviews. It's a bummer, but it's going to happen from time to time. You guys killed it every week, so can't ask for anything more unless you want to give us more.
Yeah, I can only assume 100% of listeners have reviewed the podcast. Otherwise, why would they let Bob down like this?
Oh man.
Am I allowed to review this if I've been on the show? Is that something?
100%.
I'm gonna say 100%. Yes, 1000%. Definitely.
Yeah, Bob is half the people who review it.
That might be true if you didn't have to attach a credit card to every iTunes account. It would be a lot of work and a lot of danger with your credit card. So I don't recommend that to listeners. Just give us one review. You can, take your mom's phone and give us a review on that. I don't mind. We'll take it. All right. But then also, just a quick thing. Grayson Smith is our winner of our YouTube contest for the $20 Blizzard cash card, which will come in handy soon, my friend. So if you wanted to see that drawn live, I did stream it live on our YouTube channel. So it's on past streams on the Mash Those Buttons YouTube. I said I'd do it live. The stream blew up last week. I couldn't do it live. If you would put an email address in your YouTube about section, that would help me a lot. If not, email us at wcrpodcast@gmail.com and I will give you a way to prove that it's you. So with that being said, what have you guys been doing in WoW lately before we get into the craziness?
Raiding. I think I've just been raiding. I've been so busy in life. WoW
Well,
always
you did raid lead this last week.
Yeah, I did. Yes.
You and a few others came together and raid led. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, Yip. I was worried at the start of the night. Yeah. And by the middle of the night, I was like, dude, you guys are killing it. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say our fearless leader apparently had a migraine and went to bed early without letting us know. Normally he sets an alarm for raid time to tell us if he's going to make it or not, if something's up. So it's we pull at 8 and it's like 7:55 and we're like, where's Harsk? And every time he's missing, our raid just is in shambles. But we pulled it together and we had a 2.5 hour one night Nax, I think, and yeah, super happy. Everyone really focused. I don't think it had anything to do with my raid leading. We also had DMF, so I think that everyone's doing their best. Everyone was focusing, trying to keep their buffs, trying to, parse on bosses and things like that. So it was nice to see everybody come together and prove right before the end of Classic we can do it without our LinkedIn raid leader. We can still do it.
Well, it was a group effort too. It was you and all of the officers, really. And then on top of that, Corpse and Executive, the two main tanks, did a really good job of being vocal. And I mean, I thought it was great.
Yeah, we have our two main tanks, and then I'm the third tank. Our two main tanks are notoriously quiet tanks. Like a lot of ninja pulling and things like that are not super communicative. Which is sometimes it's fine because we do have like a vocal raid leader who's not a tank. But they stepped up like crazy. I was really happy, and we kept it together. It was good. I was really happy with our guild. And then going into TBC, I really couldn't be happier with the people that we're playing with.
It's kind of amazing how little changes in routine like that can really cause people to focus so much better than they normally do.
Yeah,
Well,
True.
last week though was a real shit show.
It was week before last, right? No, it was. No, you're right.
It wasn't this week.
Yeah,
it was
last week. Yeah.
It was awful. So I think everybody came in like, we got to redeem ourselves a little bit, or nobody's going to TBC.
Yeah, we wiped on like Gluth, I think, last week, and it just ruined
it
our
was
entire.
so
we had a
bad.
2-night Nax, which we haven't had to do in a little while, I think. And
If it makes you
was
feel any
stupid.
better, Ale told me Ale almost couldn't come to our alt run last night because Eden, Def Camp, and Meldoron and Ale's guild had their worst Nax ever on their first raid day. So they had to go back in and clean that up. So he wasn't sure if he was going to be done in time to come to our alt raid, but he did make it. So it was cool.
I kind of like that about Nax. It's just like this great destroyer. Like even if it's on farm, you can't autopilot 100%.
Yeah.
You can for parts, but you can get messed up. Suddenly you have two people mess up on Thaddeus and your raid's wiped, and you're like, oh great. Like, okay. So Nax is fun for that reason, and also sometimes not fun for that reason.
Well, it's such a marathon compared to anything else we have, and it requires so much more focus. It's I think
and a lot
by
of
far
consumes.
It's by far the best raid in Classic, but it's so expensive and it's so demanding that it can get a little tiring sometimes.
Yeah, if this is going to sound really weird, but it almost feels like it should have a 2-week lockout just because it's so big and long. Like it's just like going back there every week it's a lot of time in a single raid. There's a lot of bosses. Like what were there 15 bosses in Nax? That's just it's just so much to get through.
If there was a 2-week lockout, we would have killed KT a lot earlier too, but that would have pissed off the other guilds, But yeah, with a 2-day raid schedule
anymore.
It's not really expensive anymore, though, right?
Yeah, it's not.
It's not bad unless you're messing.
I mean, it's honestly, it's not expensive if you don't wipe it all either. It's really not.
Yeah.
Too crazy. It's just that progression on whenever we had nature, like any protection potions, whether it's Shadow or Frost or even AQ with nature. You wipe on those bosses and you just consume so much gold.
4 Horsemen progression for us was pretty rough with all the protection potions we blew on that.
We actually, that was one of the ones we got pretty quickly, believe it or not. But but what have you been up to, Naismith?
Well, I've not been up to as much as I normally am. My guild that I had been in for all of Classic broke up this last week.
Aww.
So there was some guild drama, some, same thing that always happens, resentments build. People want to move on to different things, and a lot of people wanted to escape the dying server that is Stalag. I believe the WoW census showed that we have 650 raiders logged this last week, so that's not too many.
Wow.
We have had 0 alliance log in months, I think. So
crazy.
It is a default it's a default PvE server that is technically a PvP server. So I've been doing a lot of I've leveled my warlock all the way up to 60 that I'm going to be playing during TBC, and I've been ranking with him on the PvP ladder. I want to see how high I can get. I'm currently a blood guard. Don't think I can get a whole lot higher now that we have 2 weeks before that ends.
The hell's a blood guard?
That would be rank 7.
Okay, rank 7.
Got it.
Got it.
Sorry.
Well,
I keep Having to talk to all these filthy alliance people. God.
I only see the titles after I slaughter the horde and out in the fields, and normally I'm the dead one. So it's yeah. It was funny before the podcast. We were talking a little bit. You're like, yeah, I'm taking a break right now. I'm just ranking. I'm just leveling a warlock and
God.
ranking. And I'm like, okay.
Well, you have to remember that on a dead server like Stalag, it doesn't take a whole lot to get a really high rank.
Oh.
That's fair. That's fair. We still have some
Wow,
pretty
good point, yeah.
insane honor caps to this day. It's pretty crazy.
In fact, back during phase 3 and 4, there was an alliance guild that was fairly active on our server. But what it was a lot of transfers that came to our server specifically to rank. And they would get high warlord and they would leave. That guild was called a Yeet, and what they would also do is take 1,000 gold an hour from a horde guild to grief another horde guild.
Wow.
We were the victims of that during the AQ event 2 nights. That was fun.
That's actually
interesting.
a really cool
Wow,
idea.
yeah.
It makes me. I'd wanted to join. We'd heard before, like on Scarum, there are like little alliance guerrilla warfare rogue parties and stuff that will go around, and I thought that sounded cool. But also getting paid to do that sounds awesome. I think
Yeah.
we should all we should transfer over. You said there's no raiding alliance on your server. We'll be the one guild, and we'll take money from people to murder other
Right.
guilds.
It's a bizarre. Stalag is a bizarre place to be right now.
I bet.
I kind of feel that about everywhere. Like, is there a server? Because for a long time I was sort of using Whitemane as the default server. There was a lot of people. It was the biggest server for a while. But big servers are just as crazy and weird as small servers. Like, things are not normal there either. Inflation is a million
It's
times
just a
worse
different
on
way,
big servers. And like, what is a normal WoW server? I mean, obviously, it's probably neither of these servers, but is
Right.
medium population the ideal?
I have no idea. I kind of like for a few reasons I like smaller servers. Usually you actually have access to or have a chance at a world boss, which on large servers in general you never do.
Yep. Never even seen one on Whitemane personally.
Oh geez. You haven't
Same.
even seen one?
Never seen
They're
one.
killed immediately by the mafias on the Observer. The Horde and Alliance guilds work together. They're killed almost instantaneously.
Wow. We had one guild that pretty much owned them like that for the first 3 phases. They had like summoner alts that were all there and stuff like that. But they left. Pretty much every big guild has left our server. So it's like there's one high performing guild left. And I think they're just in it for the long haul to be like big fish in a little pond for TBC.
Cool. Well, Mel and I have been basically we've raided, of course, but we've just been doing beta and we've been leveling. We've been doing some heroic testing. That's been really fun. And we've been hanging with other content creators. We did this really fun Karazhan run. You can actually see it if you watch last week's YouTube version of the show, because the stream blew up, so I had to put the audio version. I had to put something on the screen, so I put our run on the screen. It's pretty much the run's entirety. It kind of worked out time wise, and we got to do.
The one?
Sorry, go ahead.
Is that the one where I was giving you guys advice from your chat?
Yeah, before you took off to the bar and left us hanging.
Sorry about that.
So yeah, it was me, Mel, Corpse, Jasmine got in there at one point. We had Eden's main tank. We had Ale. We had Willie. We had Mad Season, which was really hard not to simp on him, but I made it through. Josh, and who else? Was there someone else that we do?
No, there was another druid before Jasmine got in there, but I didn't know him.
But yeah, it was really fun. We pushed through it. We did have one almost wipe, but Mad Season claims since he survived, it wasn't a true wipe. So we didn't actually wipe the entire time. We did.
That's some kind of rogue. That's what a rogue would say. Like, I vanished. No wipe.
We did fail chess once or twice, but then once we got it down, Corpse took over the king, and we pretty much trounced that. We won.
Okay, we failed it once because they let Josh do the king, or they told Josh he had to do the king, and he's never done it before. And it wasn't pretty.
Josh is a great dude. He is a ton of fun. I wouldn't trust him with the absolute key portion of that encounter, though.
Nope.
You know something's coming when someone says someone's a great dude. Josh is a great dude.
I really like it.
But yeah, so we did not. We went back after we were done with it all and tried to kill Nightbane a couple times, but that just wasn't happening. Especially with the group we had. We had 3 warlocks, 2 shaman, a priest, a warrior tank, a paladin tank, and then.
Can we also mention the F up that nobody had cares on keys? So you couldn't get like back into the dungeon if you were a ghost, right?
Yep.
Like,
but there was an easy
Wait,
fix to
what?
that, though. It was an easy fix.
Yeah.
Someone just made a level 70 rogue and just warped to it and then just opened the door for people. So
That's pretty sweet.
was
Are
just
you guys
nuts.
still in like less than heroic gear?
the gear's actually pretty good. Like, it is mostly blue, but all of us have researched and know where to go to buy the epics we could buy for rep, because they give you almost every rep in the game. So we've done that. You get all the best enchants. Everybody gets ring enchants regardless if they're an enchanter or not. I mean, it's like, so we're still like, it's probably comparable to Nax gear for a lot of classes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I was just wondering, so people have an idea of like what to expect with Kara. You think it'll be probably a challenge for the first couple weeks for people, then probably based on what you've seen.
Yeah, and Nightbane is gonna be a tear if they leave it in the current state that it's in. But it was a good time. I think, it's supposed to be easy, but maybe not super easy that you could just go in and just do whatever and never wipe. And I think it's in a good spot. There's a bunch of different opinions out about it, but until we really get in there, we're just gonna have to see. I feel like it's gonna be the really good guilds are just gonna trounce it, and they can look forward to the other raids. But then the smaller guilds are gonna have a good chance to do it, and there's gonna be some small dad 10-man guilds that these guys played back, when they were younger, and now they're older and they're not super sweaty, and it's gonna be a good time for them. So I think it's in a good spot. All right, guys. We've got a ton to talk about. Let's go into the news. Okay, Burning Crusade, global release date, June 1st, pre-patch May 18th. The global release date is literally, as far as I know, the first time they have ever done this. It's going to release simultaneously across every region across the world.
They do that all the time now, I think.
Really?
I think that's how they handle all the releases now. It's the global release. I think Shadowlands was like that. I think that's the only thing I'm referring to. I think Shadowlands was like that, because I've also seen the maps where they'll put like the time frame, and then they'll be like, this area is at this time, this area is at this time. So I think that is the new normal, I think.
Well, I stand corrected then. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I personally am excited about it. I wanted it to come fast. Honestly, though, I would have preferred the pre-patch to come a month. I would have preferred it if they're going to release on June 1st. I would have preferred the pre-patch May 4th, but that didn't happen. I think also it didn't happen because they wanted to give speedrun guilds one last chance with DMF, which I don't care about speedrun guilds, but I guess some people do. So I guess I understand it, but what do you guys think of this release date and the 2-week pre-patch period?
Well, I want to just say I'm completely blown away that every single leak we've had for Classic has been correct. It seems like everything that anyone has ever said has always been true. Nax came out way earlier than we ever could have guessed. And now May 18th has been leaked forever. as the pre-patch date. And yeah, it's just correct. But I think what people weren't expecting is this 2-week period. But this was leaked before too. But I had just disregarded all these 2-week pre-patch timeframes because it just seemed so ridiculously short. My biggest evidence of that is the fact that they were letting people level shamans and paladins on the opposite faction. So in my head, I would figure if they're giving this allotment, they would give a normal player or an average player enough time to level those characters to 58. Would be my guess. 2 weeks seems too short for that.
Well, okay, so I thought the same exact thing, and I'd been thinking it for a while, ever since they said they were going to let shamans and Draenei, or blood elves and Draenei level early. Which, remember, I said they should probably do way back, but Josh on Countdown to Classic had this really cool episode yesterday where he brought on 18 people, non-content creators, and he brought on 18 of them to talk about their opinions. And it was so neat because it was like breaking the content creator echo chamber. Like, these guys had so many opinions I hadn't even thought of. And one guy said, he was like, well, you weren't even supposed to get Blood Elves and Draenei early before. So, I mean, you're getting 2 weeks. Be happy with what you get. And I thought to myself, that makes sense. I can't argue that.
I totally agree. And I'm prepared for this response. That's why my opinion is give no time. I don't understand why we would give 2 weeks so that average players cannot level their shamans or paladins to 58. But anyone with set up gold or infrastructure is going to be able to get their shamans to max level.
It's a really good
rich
point.
get richer scenario. Anyone with friends or a guild or gold will be able to hit, because we leveled bingo and it's going to be even less time to level come pre-patch, but we leveled bingo 9 days, actual real time 9 days, not going super hard, but I bankrolled
the
it.
mage rules, aren't the AoE rules in place in pre-patch?
But
Yeah.
there still
AoE
will be
changes?
boosts. There will still be boosts.
Yeah,
People can do
It just
every
won't be
boost.
fast though.
Right, but
And it'll be probably
so the
more
problem is,
expensive.
right. The thing is that makes it even a more rich get richer, because if there are people flame strike doing Maradon, which I suspect there will be a couple people doing it, the barrier of the amount of people who can do the runs will be small, and the demand is going to be really, really high. So it is, again, anyone with infrastructure or money is going to have this huge advantage over everybody else. Either don't give it to people or give people who are average players a normal amount of time. I really don't like only having 2 weeks, or just keep it normal. Don't give people any time, because that's how it's supposed to be. So it is, to me, it's weird.
That's a really good point for that. Like, you just brought that together even better by adding in the average players aren't going to be able to do it, but the really sweaties are going to be able to do it pretty easily. Sorry, Naismith, you were going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, if you look at, someone posted this in my guild Discord when we found out about the 2-week pre-patch. Like, the average pre-patch for a WoW expansion is something like 35 days. Like, it's significantly longer than what we are getting. And like, I feel like it's almost like they're trying to fit it in to a quarterly report.
Yep.
I mean, that could definitely be it. It's the last month of what I thought was quarter 2, but I guess maybe Blizzard's fourth quarter is the fourth quarter. Someone told me that. I don't know if it's true.
I don't know.
But isn't quarter 2 April, May, and June?
It's their fiscal quarter,
the fiscal quarter.
Right. So they could have done it 2 weeks into June instead of June 1st and still been in the same quarter.
Well, of course because all the stuff you pay for, which we're going to get into later, is out in pre-patch. It's not out at the launch of TBC. So moving it 2 weeks, I don't see how that hurts anything. But sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, I feel like it's overly cynical just to say this is just about like a business decision, but like, Blizzard has not really given me a lot of like good faith, like, to give them at this point. I think I think the 2 weeks is okay for leveling, but I think they just want like the really hardcore people to have like a equitable setup for the
Mhm.
world first race. That way you can say, oh, we just didn't have paladins this time, or we didn't have shaman yet, so we us. So this didn't really count. That's
Yeah.
that's my view on why they're just giving it 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, it definitely, yeah, whether that's the reason or not, it definitely does do that. It's a huge benefit to the more hardcore people compared to sort of the more normal people, which, if we're talking about, so a lot of us are in established guilds. So it's hard to kind of think about what's going on, but there are going to be an influx of new players. And a new player, their chance of getting into like a reasonably established guild is going to be much, much harder than if they had given them more time to hit max level with their shaman, learn to play a little bit. But now, like, if I have a friend who played TBC when we were like in high school or something, actually, I think it came out when I was in 8th grade. If if he wants to come back and play a shaman, he's going to have 2 weeks to level. They won't be able to make that time frame. And if they want to get into a different guild than ours, how do you even do that when there's going to be established raid groups in those guilds already? I'm just not a huge fan. It makes sense, and it is going to be cool that I'm glad that our guild is going to have our shamans ready. We're like the people who are re-rolling shaman are going to be hardcore enough to be 60 by the
Level.
time
Yeah.
it comes out. But yeah, it's just 2 weeks seems so short. It is really hard. You don't want to just say it's a business decision. But June 1st, May 18th has been the date for a long time. And then there was that leaked 2 weeks for a long time as well, too. Maybe like I think that their schedule is just so much quicker than ours. I mean, Nax came out a full month earlier than I expected it to come out. And that was not a like business decision. In fact, the release dates were so bad compared to like Shadowlands and Nax. They were at a horrible time. So I don't even know if they would be even thinking business for some of these release dates. It makes sense
Yeah.
if they're trying to like give enough time for like if they're trying to think other MMOs, the Amazon MMOs coming out over the summer. If they were thinking about these things, June 1st sort of does make sense. You get that established player base, but I don't even know if they think about those things when they don't even think about it for their own release dates with their own internal games.
Well, I mean, they could be
Okay.
thinking about 9.1 coming out in 2 or 3 months after TBC, wanting to have people be done with TBC grinding and everything so they could get them into 9.1. They could be thinking about the Ashes of Creation, Alpha. Could be a lot of things. Mel, you were going to say?
Yeah. So explain to me the point of pre-patch.
I think originally there was like behind the scenes they were working on like errors that were brought up like with the new talent systems, like because with every pre-patch you get a whole mess of new content, get a
Right.
whole lot of new abilities or changes to stuff. So I think originally there probably was some under the hood issues that they fixed with pre-patch. I don't know if they have those now though with this,
Well,
although
isn't the beta for that too? Like you're saying this is more like a live.
well the beta, like I guess you're asking a guy that is in law to tell you about software development. So I
Come on,
mean,
Naismith. Tell
Yeah,
me the ins and
well,
outs.
some of the obvious easy things to insert here is let's think about Wrath of the Lich King, where it's a little easier. Assuming under the hood is the reason, I can totally see how patch day or expansion day when the expansion launches, there are going to be login issues. There's going to be all these sort of server issues. Uh, the new continent is probably going to be broken somewhere because we have so many more players now playing it, more than that are on the beta. With this many players, you're going to find bugs no matter what. So it's like, do we want to put Stormwind Harbor in on expansion day, or should we do it a month earlier and like work out the bugs that come with these things? Work out the bugs
Well,
of talent changes, and then when the expansion launches, you work out the people can't log in issues. Dalaran is broken, and then instead of having to fix like Stormwind Harbor when the actual expansion launches.
Okay, you're
Right, but
talking
I
about
think
Wrath.
that
You had me
Yeah, I'm
lost
talking
for
about
a
Wrath.
second. Okay.
No. I thought I was talking about Wrath. For TBC, there's way less changes, so it's not like as obvious that they need a ton of time. But when you're when you're
that's what I'm
affecting like the
saying,
old
though.
world, it makes sense. They would need time.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is the only reason that people are angry that this isn't a longer amount of time is because they want a chance to level shaman and paladins. right?
Well, no, don't
But
get
that's
don't
not
no no
the
no no
point of
no.
pre-patch.
Totally off. I'm not upset that pre-patch is 2 weeks. I'm upset that TBC is coming out June 1st. That's the difference. I was already thinking that pre-patch was May 18th. I'm not ready for TBC to be out June 1st. I have professions to level. I've got characters to level. Like I have all these things that I want to get in and prepare for. So the shaman and paladin thing is one side. That's why I'm saying get rid of it. Like we don't actually deserve to be able to level these characters. I agree. It does create some weird imbalance between the types of players who can do it. But for me, it's just June 1st is so soon that it's like I'm in a rush. That's like a few weeks. It's like 3 weeks from now we're going to be in TBC. We got to get our dungeon groups together. So for me, it's just having that release date. They announced TBC less than a month. The actual release date less than a month from when it was releasing. That to me is
that weird?
crazier.
Yeah, like they gave
that's
3
crazy.
months for WoW Classic. So why the short period? I don't get it.
I wanted to talk about that for a second because that was something that seems like really off. Like we have less than a month before this major release, and like I know a lot of people I've talked to, the sweaty people in my guild, like they want to take time off of work so that they can play a lot, and we can't do that if like we don't have enough time. Like some people require a lot more notice before they can get time off. So it seems like a very odd decision to have it be like to just try and force this in right on June 1st. And have they ever released a game like an expansion on a holiday weekend before? Because that isn't Memorial Day the 31st.
No. Yes. Okay. Yeah. That was another thing I wanted to bring up that I haven't heard yet, but Memorial Day is the 31st. So we're going to have that
Memorial Day.
Yeah. So we're going to have that day off just to be like, well, I could be leveling in TBC. I guess you'll get to do last pre-patch stuff, but
yeah, that sounds like American centrism, but Blizzard is in America, okay?
Hey, you can go get that Tabard of the Protector down at the Dark Portal. It's a special tabard.
True.
I just think there's, I don't know. Yes, I understand that it's short notice, the actual release date, which does make it hard for people who wanted to take off work. I get that argument. At the same time, if they would have come out and said TBC will be coming August 1st, everybody would have rioted, right? Like, what? We're so ready for TBC, guys. Come on. How many more times do you want to do Nax?
I mean, I really do agree with you. I'm happy that it's sooner rather than later, but it just seems rushed. That's my only issue.
Kim Jong-un in chat points out that they might have seen a lot of subs bleeding out as Nax became on farm. I mean, we could see it on ironforge.pro. There's, less than half of the people rating Nax than were rating Nax 2 months ago. And so it is kind of probably dropping off, and probably a lot of subs are subbing out.
Sides. Shadowlands subs have been dropping like crazy too. Where I mean, I've been a pretty big proponent of Shadowlands being cool, but I also did quit back in December, so there hasn't been any new content for Shadowlands. So I can totally understand that they want to get subscriptions in, but I don't necessarily think that. I think subscriptions start coming when you have a release date. I don't necessarily think that the release date is when people are going to subscribe, though. If people had
why would
announced,
you start paying for it though before, like,
if
they said
pre-patch
to level, like you want to level in that time. Pre-patch is a great time, and that's the reason I think 2 weeks is short. Is a lot of people coming back. Pre-patch is just when it makes sense to come back as like a hard. Okay, things are way different, so I'm not missing out on anything else going on. But again, that's why you can, as long as you're not playing Shaman or Paladin, you just pay for the boost. I think that's really just what they want people to do. They almost don't want you to be prepping. They're just like, just pay,
But see,
just buy it.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that.
Well, people have made that point, but I say that point just doesn't make sense, because the majority of people that want the time to work up are doing Draenei or Blood Elves, so they can't boost those.
I think that's your opinion on the situation,
It's
but I
my
don't think
guess.
that's necessarily the case. I mean, I have 2 friends who are leveling characters right now.
Exactly. I've seen so much as like flying around on Griffins, I've seen so much low level leveling. So I think
But you
people
mean
are
for
already
pre-patch.
starting. Yeah.
But there are going to be, that's why it's just nicer to have these definitive dates ahead of time so people can make the decision for themselves. I just think that having less than a month between the announcement of the actual release date, has there ever been a game that this big that is going to have that much short notice? It just seems
I also think
super weird.
so my opinion on this is that they had the beta. They found a lot of things in the beta that they had to modify with the Karazhan stuff and all of that. And I think they were like, I don't know how long this is going to take us. And if they give us a date and then don't hit that date, people will rage. We know that. And so then I think things in the last beta testing kind of went better and they were like, we're ready. Let's do it. Everything's good.
Well, Holly did say in a recent interview with, who was it with, Yip?
It was on Screen Rant.
Yeah. See, she said in a recent interview that was just a couple days ago that they've actually had a huge beta scene and they've had a ton of data. So that probably did help them in fixing things much quicker. And I mean, we got people like Corpse in, and Corpse reported every single bug. We had to wait for him to do it every time.
Of course they did.
I almost wonder, obviously it's not out of boredom, but I do kind of get the let's just rip the band-aid off. They might know that a lot of people really want TBC, or maybe they're projecting that subscription rates are going to be really insane, because a lot of my friends too, like their first real expansion was TBC. Like
Yeah.
Vanilla's cool, and maybe that's when you started playing, but the real expansion was TBC. They could just be projecting that, there's so many new subscriptions are going to come in. Even if the current player base is like a little annoyed by it, we're not going to not play TBC because it's coming early. Just rip the band-aid off, launch TBC. Let's get people in the Kara, people doing arena. Like, who cares? That could just be it. Maybe like it's like almost like vanilla fatigue in Blizzard's point. They're just like, let's just get this going.
Okay, so for me, and I might just be because we do the podcast and stuff, I was bummed just because I was really excited about the pre-patch time and just the weird different things. 41-point talents at level 60, arena skirmishes, BGs when everybody's trying to get alts, the basic first welfare epics, and it was just, it sounded kind of fun to me just to have more time in that space. But there was a lot of people that from the community that came on Josh's pod that were saying, I know, I want it now. I don't care about you. I want it now, and I mean, might just be because it makes for great episodes and fun things, but I just really wanted more time. It's not going to hurt me much to have June 1st and have a 2-week thing. The only thing it's going to hurt is that I'm going to have to spend more time working up guildies and boosting them, running them through quests fast, and less time having fun in BGs and skirmishes and stuff. Sorry, Nay, you're going to say something?
I was just saying, pre-patch is fun. Like, it is fun. Like, it's kind of zany because you're a level 51 warlock that is now running around with an ultra powerful Felguard like pet. That is a lot of fun.
Hell yeah, it is.
Felguards running around BGs at 60 is really entertaining. Like the 41-point talents they're just fun because they're new toys for you to play with.
Well, and not just the 41 points. The talent trees on most classes were completely reworked. Like warlocks are like completely changed in how they work. Stuff was moved from warriors from one tree to the other. I mean, there's so many different things. We would have had a good time going into Nax, Now I don't even know if we'll run an after pre-patch Nax because it's so short. But you were going to say something else?
You were talking about the welfare epics, which is like the high warlord gear and the warlord gear, like those epics you can get. Those, while I think they're fairly equivalent to tier 2, are still replaced fairly quickly in TBC.
Some of them, but Mel and I have worked up to level 68, and I'm on Mel's replaced no gear. Because she's in tier 3 and like
one trinket, I think.
Yeah, she's basically Biss. But I've only replaced 3 pieces of gear if you count a trinket, and I'm in crappy ZG loot on my lock, and we're level 68. Now, we haven't done a ton of dungeons working up, so it's possible there's stuff in there, but we've done all the elite quests, and even those, like in Grand, haven't really given me things that are better than what I currently have.
What are you playing?
Warlock.
You should have replaced some stuff by then. There's some quests, like even in Hellfire Peninsula.
That trinket is definitely one of the items that I replaced.
Those are really good. Terracar Forest has a really good trinket for you.
Oh, God, okay. I take that back. Four pieces. I have 2 TBC trinkets. Sorry.
I am proving how big of a nerd I am. I'm sorry.
Replacing, grinding and getting like a weapon is probably worthwhile, but yeah, you definitely wouldn't need to get a full like Grand Marshal set in order to participate in TBC. But grinding enough to get a weapon.
The weapon's the big thing, yeah.
Hey, Yep. What's a Grand Marshal? I don't know what that is.
Turning it around.
Sorry, High Warlord.
Oh gosh, no. But also, let's look at this like optimistically on Blizzard's point and say, hey, maybe they've listened to everybody on the fact that their content is coming out too slow. Like, come on, we were in MC forever. We were in BWL forever. We were in AQ just entirely too long. Anytime in AQ was entirely too long.
You say that though, but like, just imagine how non-pre-BIS we would have been going forward had we not been in there forever. You know what I mean? Like, there's still stuff people don't have, and it's been cool to be BIS throughout the game. Sorry, Dave.
I'm sorry. Mel is right. Anytime in AQ is too long.
Yeah, AQ sucked. I hated AQ.
I loved AQ. It's so big and open. You guys having done Nax maybe hate AQ, or maybe because of how much AQ you did, you hate AQ. But going from BWL for like 9 months when you're trapped in these tiny corridors, it was a relief to be in like a big open. Like, I love that Battle Guard Sartura fight where you're just in an enormous room. I'm sick of fighting dragons in hallways. AQ was like a relief.
The reason I hated AQ the most was because the stupid gear didn't tell me what it was. And
it was pretty annoying.
So my, solve to that was I just don't bid on anything. Unless, like, I'd got like a couple things that were like,
Nax
trinkets.
Does the same thing.
Although, if we did
it's the tier gear for Nax, and like it was much easier to figure out.
If we did gear the way we do it now, though, where we do it during slow times, when something dropped, you would have had time to Google it real quick. The problem was we used to do gear, boom, 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 and you're like, oh, I should have rolled on that. Dang it.
There was also minimal priest upgrades.
And you can only look at items for World of Warcraft while you're in the raid. That's a really big problem too. Is there's no you can't like Google it after raid or before raid. It really stinks.
Yeah,
or even before you pull the boss.
To build on Mel's point, not the gear just isn't confusing in AQ. It also looks like absolute garbage. I think all of it does. Like,
Yip's gonna hard disagree with you here. It does kind of look silly on Horde, though. It does look kind of silly on Horde, but I think humans look pretty cool in like the warrior gear.
I am a giant goddamn cow with purple shoulders and this dumb purple helmet.
Oh, I get it now.
That's your fault for being a cow.
I know exactly why he hates the purple shoulders. It's the same reason that I hate purple. We both went to KU.
Probably.
And K-State is purple.
It's true.
It's a better color, guys.
Oh, look at that.
Cool I am.
Oh, see, the audio.
Only the shoulders are.
Yeah, the audio listeners can't even see it. Oh, that is such cool art. Oh, man. Yeah, it's just, I'm happy that it's coming out earlier just because I'm super sweaty and I'm going to be prepared. I've been doing it for a long time. I just feel bad for the people that aren't going to be able to do it, that aren't prepared, and I think it sucks for them, and it feels weird.
Yeah, no matter what, even if like it doesn't matter at the end of the day, pre-patch will come and go. We're gonna forget about the fun times that we had. Oh, it's so fun to be in pre-patch. Yeah, we're gonna forget or whatever. It just does feel rushed, no matter how you look at it. Announcing an official release date with less than 30 days before that release date feels rushed and sloppy. Whether they were planning on June 1st this whole time, it just feels weird, and people don't want to feel like you're rushing it.
To me, this is like if Marvel announced that the sequel to Avengers Endgame, they just announced today that it's coming out, in 3 weeks. A bizarre situation where it's like they've obviously put a lot of money into this, but wait, why is this here? There's no time to even advertise it.
But at the same time, I would love that because I'd be like, oh, well, that's only 3 hours of my life. I'm gonna go see that this weekend.
If it took you,
I don't need to take off work for that.
But this is the comparison is you don't have to get ready for a movie. If it took 4 weeks to make popcorn and you wanted popcorn with the movie and it's coming out in 3 weeks, you're like, oh no, I can't get my popcorn for the movie.
I haven't planted it yet, damn it.
I don't even know my professions yet. I have not decided my professions. And now I'm like, okay.
Okay, but isn't part of that your fault? They announced it at BlizzCon. You could have been preparing this whole time.
Yeah, but sometime in 2021, they didn't even say summer 2021. They said just sometime 2021.
They said soon.
Don't blame Blizzard.
They did say no. They said beta soon. They said beta soon.
Beta soon.
Yeah, beta
but
soon.
Soon in Blizzard terms has a very flexible meaning.
Yeah, I didn't think they actually meant soon.
Yeah.
It's a problem that they gave themselves. If they've had average pre-patches over the years, it probably should have sat in that same amount of time. The flack that they're getting, in my opinion, is deserved because they just didn't communicate enough. This would have been fine had they announced this a month and a half ago. If we knew the 2-week thing would be there, it would be like, okay, we're going to play in differently. We're going to play it, we're going to gather up items that we need for our characters that are going to be working up, like the Stranglehorn Veil pages. You would have gathered all those on an all to get ready for. You would have gathered things that you could buy from the auction house, that you could just turn in immediately for quests, so you could have had it immediately. People would have prepared differently, and I think that's the biggest problem is just how fast they sprung it.
All right, 2 things. Let me put it into perspective. They announced that there would be a TBC beta at BlizzCon with more time frame between the announcement at BlizzCon and beta between the announcement of actual TBC and TBC's release. So let's not act like it's normal that they announced it so crazy late and weird.
How long has the beta been out?
So quickly.
Hey, just a quick note. That BlizzCon announcement, hanging out with Josh, like all of us did, that's where I met Bob. And
it was a good time.
And Bob and I just kept talking in DMs the entire night about stupid Kansas City stuff. The fact that I was super drunk on was it Boulevard Tank 7 that night?
You and I were both pretty we were pretty
brought us all together. And then finally I want to address a chat comment real quick. Someone said if you haven't already decided your professions for TBC, you don't actually care that much about TBC, do you? I want to answer that with a really So let me get this straight really quick. No longer playing who asked that. If you sit and think about something over and over again, does that mean that you don't care? If I sit for when I go to make a car purchase, if I do due diligence and take a look around and shop around, look at the safety of something, look at, does that mean I don't care about it?
Yes.
Or is it actually that I'm taking my time to figure out what professions I want in TBC?
It means you're indecisive.
The only way to shop for cars is to buy the first one that you see that's
right.
red.
Yeah, or just
I've done that for years.
Whatever car,
I don't recommend it.
Whatever car Icy Veins tells me to get, I'll just buy that car. That's what I need to do. But in reality, I'm playing Warrior. Storm Herald is the best thing they ever created in this game. However, it gives me 0 PvE benefit, and I will be main tanking for my guild. And warriors are going to be lackluster eventually. So my question is, should I get professions that are going to help me PvE solely? Or should I actually take blacksmithing and then get that Storm Herald so I can smash people's faces in? That's why I haven't decided my professions. I'm not going to level blacksmithing all the way up if I'm not 100% sure
it's
that's the route I
expensive.
want to take.
Yeah,
Storm
it's
Herald is
it's
cool.
expensive, right? So it's a big decision. It's not a small decision if you don't buy gold. If you buy gold,
Storm-
it's a small decision. But sorry, Naismith.
Storm Herald is cool, but the Lionheart Executioner, that's the best sword they have for any, I think, in terms of just aesthetics. That is the sword you want to make.
Okay, for aesthetics, sure.
But we're talking
Yeah.
about a 4-second stun, dude.
I'm talking about a 7-second chain stun is what with my warrior, which is what I did in an actual TBC. So the question is, do I PvP on my warrior, which I've already done at a very high level, or do I do something new? Maybe I play my mage for PvP and I just get like enchanting on my warrior for the little bonus I get from enchanting my rings.
You should do that, dude. I'm doing it literally for the reason that I did really well in TBC PvP on the lock. I'm just not even gonna mess with it now because I don't want to ruin that beauty that beautiful memories that I had. I'm gonna start something new. I'm gonna learn something new, and I'm not going to realize how bad I am now at Warlock PvP.
Oh god, I am reliving all of my nostalgia. I am a warlock again for the first time since Mists of Pandaria. If that tells you how long it's been since I've been a warlock.
I don't think it tells Bob anything about when.
Doesn't no, it doesn't.
Was that 2 expansions ago? Miss a Pandaria. What?
God, I think that was 4 expansions ago now.
Yeah, it's been a while. Oh, it's been a while. It's been a long time.
Wasn't
It's
it
funny how
after
it's long.
Kata?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's after
I
Kata.
think I got a friend, like a recruit a friend boost to 90 after Kata. I logged in for 15 minutes, saw that they took away talents, and I was just logged out.
Miss Pandaria is like my middle of college expansion, so I was just like, go away, I'm playing World of Warcraft at college now.
I can
Get out of my
finally stay
room.
up as much as I want. Leave me
Yeah, that
alone.
was like
No, I don't want to go to the party. Goodbye.
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
actually I got a few top 100 US kills on bosses in Mists of Pandaria. That was a really cool expansion, I think. It's Bob, you missed out when you like learned about the talents.
I totally agree with you, by the way. I think
Dude,
Miss
I
Pandaria
watched Kung
is
Fu
great.
Panda. I got the gist of it. But we should probably move on
Yep.
to something else. So we're going to talk about the Deluxe edition next, but real quick, I wanted to give everybody a tip that I think is really neat. Now, I have to start it off with a really big caveat, a huge warning, caution. This could get hot fixed at any time before the patch. So if you're going to do it, I would do it right before pre-patch and make sure that it still works. But was watching,
what?
I'm going to tell you, was
Oh, okay.
watching a classic WoW Curious video on YouTube. He's a YouTuber. You should check him out. But he showed that you could have someone buy you a mount from another faction and then trade you that mount. Because right now, to buy the mount, you either have to be Exalted or that faction. You can buy the mount. It's binds when used, so you can trade it to someone else. So they traded it to me. I copied my character to the beta server. The tooltip has changed now. Requires 150 writing skill, requires male, or requires human, druid, blah, 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 blah. But in TBC, it costs, you have to have Exalted to buy it, but you don't have to have, Exalted to ride it. You just have to have writing skill. So on the beta last night, I was riding around on a cat with Blazing Bob, and it's something that's going to be real cool if you want a different mount going into TBC, but you'll have to buy it before TBC, because if someone buys it in TBC, it's binds when picked up, not binds when used. So they won't be able to buy it for you and trade it to you. So just like, if you don't have 800-900 gold to waste, don't do it, because it's very possible that they could fix it prior. But we're 2 weeks out before pre-patch, so you might be able to
Bob
do
has
this.
900 gold to waste.
He does. If you a side tip, all right, if you're a long run player and you're gonna be playing Wrath of the Lich King, it's time to suck it up. Just get exalted. Just get exalted. You're
How
gonna
easy
need
is
it.
it though? Just with
It's
rune
like 500
cloth?
gold of rune cloth or something. I don't know the amount it is right now,
Wow.
like the cost, but you just turn in a bunch of rune cloth. Do some of the early quests, like you can go back to the zones and do them, I think, and get a little bit of rep if you want. But you can just turn in rune cloth. The only reason I say that is because in Wrath, the amount of mounts you have in order to get like the mount collector achievement, being exalted with all the reputations is nice anyway, because you just buy all the mounts, and it's kind of required, I think, to hit that like 50 mounts when Wrath first launches. But yeah, I mean that's a sweet little trick to get like, to get on the
Yeah.
tiger
Well,
if
and
you're
see,
not exalted.
I don't really care. Like he's gonna be my PvP guy, so he's gonna be in
Yeah.
BGs. You know, he'll be around Azeroth. Like, and I just want a cat mount. So it was a real cool thing. I'm only doing the one just in case like it doesn't work or something. But it was a risk I was willing to take, and I if anybody's looking for that, you can do that. If
Could you buy
Yip's
me a
right
cat?
and it's cheaper, I thought about it, but I didn't. We can talk about that after the cast. But if Yip's right, then getting exalted would allow you to buy all of the mounts, and the mounts are a lot cheaper come TBC. So it might actually be cheaper in the long run to just do the rune cloth turn-ins. But it was something fun that I saw, and if you just really want a certain mount, give it a
Yeah,
try.
it's
If
the
you got
easiest
some
way
money.
to get on the mount that you want right away. If there's a mount you want, that's the way to do it.
All right.
Maybe.
Unfortunately, the mount I want is that tiger mount from ZG, so I'm gonna have
Same.
to wait for that one.
Yeah, I've got it on retail.
In
Also, I'd
Paladins-
just like to point out that we've been on for like an hour and we've gotten through one bullet point. Just saying.
Yeah, it was a pretty big bullet point, though.
it's the most important bullet point.
Oh, also,
Is
you'll
it?
be able to farm the ZG Tiger with much less people come TBC. But let's.
Oh yeah, you can do it with 4.
Oh,
Easily.
nice. We did it with 3 in Wrath. I got it at the start of Wrath when I got mine.
Yeah, I soloed it in Wrath. You know, just paladin things.
All right, so here we go. All right, so first off, there's the Dark Portal Pass. Okay, and so the Dark Portal Pass is basically the character boost. That's going to be offered on May 18th. So that is clarified now. I did turn out to be right on that. Thank God I was right on something, right? And you're going to be able to boost May 18th. This comes with Apprentice Riding Skill, Race-Specific Mount, weapon skills up to level 58, which kind of pisses me off. I'm not going to lie. It took me a long time to get all my weapon skills up on the warrior, but okay, moving on. Access to certain flight paths. So maybe it's not all the flight paths now. Maybe Blizzard listens to Warcraft Reloaded, but a set of level
Obviously.
58 magic green quality gear. So it's going to be that crappy gear we got with the level 58 boosts on TBC.
Why does it say magic quality gear?
Because that's green.
Green quality is magic.
Is it?
I didn't
don't
know that
know.
either,
Yeah,
actually.
I'm
Well,
just
it's
guessing.
technically uncommon. I don't know why it's called magic quality here. Actually, it's
Yeah.
uncommon quality.
Yeah.
So that is a little bit odd.
Isn't magic what it's called in Diablo?
I don't know. All right, well,
No.
let me get through this so we can talk about the rest of them. So you'll also
That is obviously the most important bullet point. Note here, Bob.
you'll also get up to 4 rune cloth bags, 14 slots each, and you'll get a little bit of gold to start your journey, whatever a little bit means to them. All right, what do you guys think about this?
Normal. I mean, I feel like we've gone through the gambit. I'm absolutely disturbed that you're getting it on May 18th and not June 1st. I think that's just the weirdest, silliest, strangest. I just don't even. I mean, I guess the point is to give you a little bit of time to catch up and actually learn your
Make
character.
yourself and
Yeah, you got to like make something of yourself. I just think that's that's counterintuitive to this is giving people a bigger benefit. I like the boost even less. I mean, I don't like the boost, but I like it even less when they're given time to actually hit 60. Because boosting on June 1st, when TBC launches, you're already behind everybody else. So you're not really, it's not pay to win because you're actually behind when you're paying, to me. now you can kind of catch up with everybody in that 2-week period.
And they're getting the
I
chance to possibly raid too.
Yeah, the chance to possibly raid, which at the end of the day, I mean, for what the Dark Portal Pass is meant to do, which is just bring people back and into the community more, then I guess I do kind of agree with them releasing it earlier. The thing I was saying before about normal players being able to sort of find a guild and be able to raid alongside people, this is the best way to handle it so that they can catch up in that 2 weeks and have a chance to actually play with people. So yeah, I mean, it just is what it is. We knew this was coming.
Okay.
Yip's right. We've known this is coming. This is exactly what I thought would happen. I did think it would be released on release of the actual expansion, but
So was I the only one that thought it was going to be pre-patch?
No, I think they said it would be in
They never
pre-patch.
said.
No.
Yeah, they never were
No, they said this,
super clear.
Yeah, the snapshot was pre-patch, but they never said that the boost would be.
Oh, I
until this
assumed
last
it was going to be pre-patch, but yeah, I don't know.
I think they played it vague on purpose, just so they can reveal as little as possible. But that's just because Blizzard does that constantly.
Blizzard's also been punished though. Blizzard's also been punished though for saying things and then them changing, right? Like you get this all the time, right? They want everybody wants transparency, but then when they say something like, "Hey, we're probably going to have it do this," and then it doesn't happen, then it's all hell breaks loose then.
No, I agree. This is way better than them changing it. But like it was so big when they announced it. I was saying like we've had episodes where we talked about whether or not the boost was paid or not because they just literally did not say anything.
Yep. And everybody seemed to say they said paid. Like in all the content I consumed after BlizzCon, I'm like, dude, they never said it was paid. They just said there was going to be a character boost offered. Like they did say paying for cloning. Yeah, cloning was definitely said to be a paid service, but they never clarified the boost.
Till now.
Yes,
I was actually on Countdown to Crusade and had a extremely lengthy debate with other people about the boost and like the veracity of it. I don't think I'm going to use it, but I'm not like offended by it being included in the game like some members of the community are. I do think it will allow like a certain amount of the population to rejoin the game that has not been in for Classic.
See, and I'm going to be completely transparent. I'm going to buy it for sure, possibly on both of my 2 accounts. I mean, it feels crazy to me to leave an extra tailor sitting there not making me 2 cloth a week to get my pre-bis. It seems like crazy. If you have the money, it seems crazy not to do it.
Yeah, I don't care about the boost. The boost is fine for me. I mean, the people that are coming back...
No, but I'll get 2 cloth for my specific gear set.
Yeah, your specialty.
Yeah. The people that are coming back for TBC that didn't play Classic don't want to relive the Classic leveling experience.
All my friends who joined Classic with me, like not my like hardcore gamer friends, but like friends from high school, we played World of Warcraft the first time around. All of them quit in the 40s. They just didn't make it to 60 at all. And I think a lot of people have friends like that. I think at the end of the day, the boost is going to be so good for population. It almost like I can't even. Now that they've announced it and we've sat with it for a while, I don't see a world where they didn't offer a boost because the whole point is like if they wanted to play Classic, they would be here.
They would have played.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So that
they're not. I mean, I think people just have to get over the fact that Classic isn't everybody's favorite, right? And it's not everybody's favorite. A lot of people just wanted to play TBC, and so here we are. And they don't want to level, and it doesn't mean they're going to suck when they get to 60 or 70. They know how to play the game, or they want to play the game at the end time, so just let them have their thing.
I wanted to say this with pre-patch earlier and I kind of forgot to, but this could be the only time that we have pre-patch also. Like if you think about the long run of what Classic WoW ends up being, we don't really know if there's ever going to be a progression server forever that goes from like Classic or goes from vanilla to TBC to Wrath or however far they go. So it could literally be that next time they do like a fresh for TBC, maybe it just puts everybody at 58. Like maybe that's what TBC Classic is, what they want it to be in the future, where the focus is the Burning Crusade. Otherwise, you can go be on a classic era server if you want the 1 to 60 experience. Like for all we know, that this is how they're gonna handle the future of fresh servers for later expansions.
If they go the
Don't
private
threaten me with a good time.
Sorry, say again.
I was gonna say, don't threaten me with a good time. Having a
Well,
level.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they go the private server route, that would be the way. Like, did any private server ever progress through all 3 first expansions?
Yeah, well, yeah, not through them together, but like I think there were servers that let you boost all the way to the max level. There were servers that would let you boost to like 60 so that you could level in TBC and stuff like that. And there are servers that let you start at 1 and level through for the expansion. But I'm not sure there was never like a progression that went all the way through like we are now.
You're
You
telling
got
me
your gear.
servers offer boosts?
Yeah, they did.
I mean,
sometimes
The
paid boosts.
scandal.
Yep. Yeah.
One of the most popular TBC servers was Warmane's TBC server, which just had a cash shop for items. Like you could buy warglaives at the end.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, I saw so many videos of people out, dueling. There's like 50 people dueling, and every single one of them has Grand Marshal swords. It's just like, well, I don't think that was a real server.
Yeah, it's all about what you're looking for. Like those are obviously very different experiences, but I mean, I think that Blizzard will be somewhere in the middle. We're not going to always have the most hardcore, like uncasual friendly experience with these. So yeah, the boost is obviously here to stay. It's what we expected. I think if you like boosts, giving it to them not on June 1st and actually in the pre-patch makes sense, right? Like obviously for someone who doesn't like boosts, waiting until June 1st it makes sense, but Blizzard likes boosts. They're putting it in the game. So that's all fine and good. I think that everyone has their opinions on boosts, but
Are you
I
telling
still
me
think it'd be
Blizzard
great
liked
to give
money?
them like a boosted tag on their nameplate, right?
Well,
It's been
okay,
named
that would
boosted
be hilarious.
forever.
Yeah, it would just be boosted. I actually have the name saved for the character that I boost. He is going to be Boosted Bob. Like, I mean, I'm
Nice.
just going to own it from the very beginning and be like, yeah, I boosted. They offered it. I boosted.
Yeah, I just think it should be like a title, right?
If I boost, I might actually name him Naismith because unfortunately my character is not Naismith. But
Oh no.
Oh, sad.
Makes sense. All right, final point. Let's move on from the boost though. But what's everybody boosting?
Well, I boosted a paladin.
I'm boosting a druid, I think, actually.
I have a druid and a priest, and I've never played anything else.
So are you not going to boost at all?
I mean, you have a druid, a priest, and a mage. She might not boost.
Forget about the mage. I don't like my mage. But
wait, is your mage level 60?
it's 58.
Oh Jesus.
Okay, and I think I would like it more if I had the 55 water, but I don't.
No, just I
Aw.
mean, just admit why you don't like it. Like it's the PTSD of all the bickering we had doing AoE farms throughout our leveling
Oh,
process with
my
our mages.
God.
I will-
Bob constantly telling me that he was right and I was wrong. And I'm like, I just want you to look at this again. You're running this way, and it clearly states that we should be running this other way. But yeah, that's probably why.
Just a tip as a major. I love AoE farms. I've done solo
Yeah,
all
don't
the way.
duo AoE farm.
Duo is awesome. Duo mage is a huge mistake. Duo for AoE, you definitely want to go mage priest or mage paladin, and you'll
Yeah.
have a
Right.
much better
Yeah,
time.
that was the biggest problem. We both could do the different things solo. It's just it was
Right.
too chaotic with 2 people.
Yeah,
don't know.
what allow what paladin and priest allows you to do is you kind of have different jobs in the AoE pulls, and you can do mega pulls bigger than a single mage can do. But you don't necessarily, like when you have 2 mages that can each solo it, you can end up with some really like annoying situations. It's just like
Oh.
the slimes.
Oh, I know.
It's the slimes before patchwork where everyone has to AoE them down or they'll like one shot you. Imagine 2 mages on like opposite sides of the room AoEing them and they just spread out everywhere.
We actually had some really impressive boosters on our server that they duo maged Stratholm, and they did an impressive amount of the trash in there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
that's actually meta for the strat 2-man pull to do two mages, but it's a specific route you have to take and everything.
Yeah. I could boost a priest and go shadow.
Oh yeah, that's what Kim actually was mentioning it in chat just now, but I think some people want to do that, boost like the same character of a PvE and PvP and just roll with it like that
Well, I
or
was gonna PvP on my druid, but
oh yeah.
shadow priest is good as PvP too. And I kind of like thought of not healing.
I don't know. Druids are so goddamn useful in PvP. Like
They're so
I know.
good.
That's
They're-
why
they're-
I leveled the druid.
their toolkit is so ridiculous once they get Cyclone.
Instant cast, man. Instant cast rule the day a lot of the times, and it makes it, it makes it just an easier play style. Don't at me. But last thing,
Okay, wait, no. We have not finished this topic. One more thing. If you could think of a good character for me to boost, what would it be?
Paladin.
No, I'm asking you. Tell me what you think I should boost. What do you think I would be identify with?
Paladin. I mean, you've only healed ever, besides the mage.
That's not true. Questing a lot, you get mad at me because I don't heal.
It's so true.
Rogues can be pretty fun.
Oh,
And you-
no. That's so much
It's a
stress.
pretty big
It really
learning curve,
can.
though.
The melee stuff, like, really, I don't know. I don't have enough, like,
Elemental
eyesight.
shaman. You can't boost
Oh,
the shaman, never
shaman.
mind.
Oh yeah,
We're
you
talking
can
about
boost the
boost.
shaman.
I was gonna say
Thanks,
because
Yep.
I could see elemental shaman because it's kind of simple DPS, and then it's also like
am I simple? Is that what you're telling me?
well, no, like the rotation of damage is simple, but then you also have like the support buttons and stuff. Like your totems and stuff act like support, so it's like half support, half DPS. So it's like a good transition from healer to DPS. That was me.
Elemental's the caster, right?
Yeah.
Yes. If you ever PvP and you see just a whole lot of lightning, that's an elemental shaman.
Got it.
All right, so the last thing on this topic, though, is I had it later in the notes, but I think it makes more sense to talk about it now. It's just the price point of the dark
Right.
portal pass, which is the boost. They just called it the dark portal pass, but it is $39.99. Do you guys think that's a fair price?
Maybe even a little cheap. That's how I feel about it. It
Yeah,
seems a
I thought so
little bit
too.
cheap for what it takes to get from 1 to 58 currently, and the time and gold it takes. $40 is a steal. I think it's high enough though that like you're not gonna get people doing it for fun. I was definitely gonna boost on both my accounts. I'll probably just boost on one of my accounts now. It's for like $40 actual dollars is a lot, but what you get for it, it's worthwhile. It just is a lot of money.
Well, it's cheaper than retail, and retail is astronomically faster to level up a max character. So it's just interesting that it is this cheap, to be honest.
How much is it in retail?
I believe
It's
Go ahead.
50 for an expansion in retail. I
for
thought.
for an expansion,
For the
if you
basic-
buy
for the basic
the
version.
basic thing, but the boost, like when I looked it up the last time, was like I thought it was $80.
Yeah, it's expensive if you're just boosting and it doesn't come with anything else.
Maybe it's $80 because they're like, you're just super lazy. Like it's super fast to level in retail. I don't know that. I haven't done it. But that's what Yip tells me.
Well, I was thinking like the $40 price point. Is that how expensive it was to buy TBC back in the day?
I believe TBC was $39.99. The expansion, it wasn't $60.
I think that's just.
But
maybe
at
that's
that
just a
time, though-
coincidence, but that's what I think the
Yeah.
price point from.
Well, at that time, though, like TBC, you could buy just TBC, but you could buy, was it the Battle Chest or was that Warcraft? You could buy like the two together because you still had to buy World of Warcraft.
yeah, they did
which
have the
dropped
battle
to 20
chest.
bucks.
I'm not sure when it came out, but they definitely did have the battle chest, and you had to buy both vanilla and TVC together. But yeah, I mean, this is clearly just their. When we had, I think it was Melderon who brought this up, and I'm really in tune with this idea that it's just they're just getting the box price for something else. Like they want the box price. just like with the copying of the character, they want the box price, and they're gonna get it with some digital service, and this is just the one that they're getting it with.
Yeah, I
Which
have to
is
say I'm
fine.
pretty
Like,
I'm pretty
it's not
happy with the
something you
price.
have to do. So if people want to give Blizzard their money and they can keep making improvements, like whatever.
It's the free to play game that, you know, you have to pay $100 to like get all the equipment unlocked or some stuff like that. But
I don't think it's as bad as that, but you know, I don't think this is a Clash of Clans situation quite yet. But
You don't have to pay.
no, you
To
don't. Like, it's
be
completely
better.
optional.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
optional pay. Like if you don't want to put in the work, you can pay, but it's not like you're gonna fall behind if you don't pay.
A Shadowlands character boost is $60 currently, as of May 7th at 8:45 p.m. EST, 2021.
okay,
$60.
I will
That's
be honest.
interesting.
If Blizzard ever did like open a cash shop where you could like actually buy gear, I think that might be the end for me. Like, it's just not something I would be.
Yeah. And
Oh,
as we
yeah.
as we talk about some of these items, like people throw around the word pay to win way too freely, as if like
Yeah.
it pay to win means something. And the things that they've offered us so far, I don't even think a boost to 58 is technically like pay to win. I think that it's like pay to, you know, not waste your time, but you're not getting ahead of anybody with
Right.
these magic level items.
Yeah,
that
they're pretty
giving you.
crap
That's the
items.
thing is that when they start making you pay for items with real money that you can't get by doing something else, or even if they let you buy items that you can get in dungeons, that's it. Like that's the pay to win feature.
You're
Because
actually you're actually going to be behind the curve doing this boost as opposed to getting mage boosted, because mage boosting, the rule set across the board is it's free for all loot. They kill everything. You get to go loot everything. And lots of them don't even reserve epics. So you're getting a ton of cloth. You're getting a ton of things to work up different trade skills and all this different stuff. So you're actually behind the curve taking the 58 boost. Besides the flight paths and the weapon skills is pretty sick for a lot of classes.
Yeah, but none of those are things that you work toward in this game. No one's saying like, whoa, Blazing Bob has max weapon skills.
I do.
What?
I
like,
do.
No, we
Or
hit
did
rats
you know
in a
Yip has
sewer.
all the flight paths?
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like, these aren't things that are impressive in this game. These are bare minimum time wasters in this game. You're not getting a Nax carry for gold, which, by the way, guys, this game is pay to win, but because GDKPs exist, is already a much more transparent pay to win aspect of this game than anything else that's been coming out so far. Even retail WoW doesn't have like pay to win options, right? You have, I mean, they, other than what I'm talking about, paying people real money in order to like
Right.
get raid gear and stuff like that.
They've
But like
always
Blizzard,
made it cosmetic.
I don't think we're ever going to run into a situation where Classic
don't
is going to
either.
have like gear for sale or anything like that. So
No.
Yeah.
I don't think they will either.
Yeah.
That's a line I think they know not to cross.
I would honestly, I'm going to call it here. This is a little bit crazy. I'd be pretty shocked that if in Classic they ever even had an actual item, like an actual shop where you can purchase things that they're consistently adding new like items to. That would surprise me even for Classic.
I think
So
it'll
I think
depend.
we're okay.
If it's popular, if like lots of people
It
want
may-
them out and lots of people do this, like they
Maybe
might.
maybe like after Wrath and they like redo everything about how they're going to do Classic. But as Classic is now, like it would cause so much bad faith in the community to that there's just no way.
It's not worth it to them.
Yeah.
They'll probably end up losing money.
So, yeah, for me, my hard stop would be either looking for raid or looking for group if it wasn't solely on your server, or it would be transmog. Unless you could toggle, each individual player could toggle transmog on or off. So a player could choose to never see transmog. Like, that's the only way that I would accept it.
transmog.
I hate it, dude.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, yeah, I mean that's the
What's-
boost. I mean,
Wait,
yeah.
wait, what's with this like transmog hate? That's like that's a very weird line in the sand. Or
I
should
don't.
not
It's
even
so
bring
weird.
this
Okay,
up?
I want to explain it because Bob has talked about this 80 million times.
Yeah.
Bob doesn't like that when you're out out in the field, you can't tell the stats of someone's gear by the cosmetic appearance of the gear. He
Well, I
wants to
just
be
think
able
it
to eye you
makes.
up. He wants to be able to eye you up and be like, ah, you're wearing tier 3. I shouldn't fight you. You know, like that's what he wants.
Yep. And
But it's
also
still
I
like
just want
you're
to
kind
be
of
able.
excited when you get a new piece of gear because everybody can see it.
Yeah, and I want to be able to see the gear they have if I want to go expect somebody, but I do understand the neatness of like transmog competitions and stuff. That's why if it, it's the same thing I talked about with the graphical change. As long as everybody could toggle it on or off, it wouldn't bother anybody. So as long as you could do that, I would be cool with it, and I'd actually partake in like some of the stuff. I in town I would have it turned on. I think it was neat.
I will just say that I pretty much agree with like TBC and even maybe Wrath with that sort of stuff. But there's like 9 versions of WoW that exist. Transmog is like a necessity in retail.
Well,
WoW.
and in retail, I guess because of the stats being homogenized, you can tell someone's gear, like pretty much anybody's gear per class by their amount of health is what Melissa's brothers told me. So you don't really have to like eye them up like you used to. So I guess it kind of makes sense there. I'm just saying I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to see it. That's but sorry, that's total tangent. Let's move on to.
Wait, hold on, Bob. You don't want to look like your AQ40 purple shoulders for the rest of your classic career?
I
That's
like
surprising to
looking
me.
like a clown, okay? That is the Fury Warrior way in classic WoW. I walk, and you know what I do? Like right now, I'm walking around Stormwind in full tier 3. Even though I never wear it anywhere else full, I'm walking around in Stormwind in full tier
Oh, I
3.
could
So I'm
do that.
already transmogging. So, but
That's because tier 3 looks amazing.
it does, yeah.
There is something funny on Thaddeus though. We kill our side. I assume every guild splits up melee and ranged. You don't technically have to necessarily, but our side just has all melee, and then all the warriors jumping across to Thaddeus, all wearing the same outfit, is just so silly. We're just all the same person.
Oh,
The
all
only
right.
difference is the weapons.
Yeah.
For my guild, like every
Same.
warrior looks the same.
Yep.
Yep.
It's just weapons.
Well, yeah, I get it changes for me depending on if we're on trash on bosses. I look quite a bit different in those two situations. But let's move on to the Deluxe edition. And Yip, do you want me to let you read this?
Yeah, I can read it.
Yeah, go because
Like
this
word for word, the blue post.
Yeah, well, just tell them what they're going to get with the Deluxe edition.
All right, well, the Deluxe edition, I mean, it's an unbeatable deal. So let's talk about some of the benefits. All right, you get
keep it going.
You get the reawakened Phase Hunter mount, a creature that draws on the otherworldly energies that transform Draenor into Outland, for use only in Burning Crusade Classic and designed to match the look of the original expansion. I will say there is a Shadowlands version and a TBC version. I think I actually like the TBC one better, weirdly. Like there's something rugged about it that the nice graphics of retail
They
can't
actually
kind of match.
brought back old TBC artists to make it.
Wow.
They
I
they mentioned that in the article that came out from Holly.
That's actually really cool. So here's kind of like where things get a little wonky. I guess the mount's pretty wonky, but we've talked about the mount a lot. We haven't talked about some of these other items. A Dark Portal
Oh wait,
Hearthstone
can I ask
for
a question?
Of course.
Is the mount a flying mount or a ground mount?
No, it's the ground mount exclusively, and we can talk about this more. And
No, go ahead and tell them what is later in the notes about it, the way it works with riding skill, because that's a bit of big mix up.
I was the champion of our guild, trying to calm people down this last week, because some people were worried that if you bought this Deluxe edition, the mount would just automatically be 100% speed. But luckily, it will match your riding skill. So if you have alts who you bought epic on, you did not waste your money. You're not going to get an epic mount for free. It will match your riding skill. They said if you don't have epic, it'll be 60%. I assume you also will still need to train riding in some form.
Yes, in
order to use it at all.
Yeah, you will have to train both ridings unless you're a paladin or a warlock, which get it free, basically.
Right. Yeah, so you don't have to worry. It's again not pay to win. You're not wasting any money. Maybe there's a little bit of a gold bonus here by getting the mount, but it's not like this insane thing. The only big thing is that you're getting a unique mount that never existed in TBC, and we've talked a lot about it and the pros and cons of it, and what the systems that we would like to see that would make it better. But that's what you get. The next thing is a Dark Portal Hearthstone, which provides a unique visual effect inspired by the gateway between worlds. Um, so a Hearthstone with a different effect coming in TBC.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know what.
pretty
Do you even know
crazy.
what this is? I
It says
saw.
unique visual
Yeah,
effect.
I saw it
Yeah,
showing portals. Like it showed the dark portal over this person, and then it showed like a.
Yeah, in retail, there's a bunch of these where there's like little Hearthstone toys that will do different things. Like on Hearthstone, they'll be like, this is gonna sound weird, but I'm pretty sure there's one where like four dwarves dance around you or something, like the innkeeper's daughter or something.
Wait,
Um,
what?
I might be getting that
Weird.
confused with another toy that exists
I've
too.
seen
But there's
the visual, and I don't think this. I don't think this is cool.
I don't care.
Yeah, it's a little odd. I worry about, see, the mount to me is not that big of a deal. This is actually a bigger deal to me because just so many new visuals coming into the game will make me
Yeah.
feel like I'm not a part of like this anymore. That's my biggest problem in retail is like it doesn't feel like WoW anymore because of how many different things are going on that I can't identify. I'm like
Well,
an
yeah,
old person like this isn't what I know.
I guess it does make it. We all know what Hearthstoning looks like, right? You can tell if somebody's hearthing,
Yeah, and this is
and
nuts.
this will
It
make it
puts a
look different.
huge dark portal behind you, like maybe a half of your height taller than you. Like I watched the graphic, and
Yeah.
it puts some different portals behind you. It depends on the portal. Like I think it's like an RNG thing, but it's definitely gonna make someone leaving a dungeon or someone in storm. It's gonna be a little bizarre for TBC. This was the
It's
one thing I
big,
actually had a
right?
problem with.
Isn't it
Yeah,
like a
But is it
little
a
bit too
game
big?
yeah, it's
breaker
really
or a
big.
game changer? Like it doesn't.
This
It's
is a
Hearthstone. It's not a move or anything. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's gonna crowd the graphical areas that you're in. It's gonna be a little weird, I think.
Well, it's 2021, so your
this
computer should be able to handle it.
this is something that will be weird for precisely 1 week, and
Yeah,
then you will be used to it. And
right.
I just I
Yeah,
don't see
okay.
this. I don't see this as a big deal at
But
all.
what if there's 20 of them in 2 years?
20 different
I mean,
Hearthstones.
okay,
Yeah.
we're talking about the slippery slope of Hearthstones. I don't care that much.
That I hate to say this, but that is kind of a slippery slope fallacy there. Like
Yeah.
we could what if like any point that they have given us in this collector's edition to the point where I don't want to play WoW anymore.
This is honestly the
Do
only
you
one that
think that-
scares me.
Do you think that putting this in or taking this out increases or decreases the price point of this at all? No.
No, I just don't like what Yip and I were saying earlier, just the extra
Literally,
graphics.
the actual effect is what we're complaining about. Like, there are Hearthstones. This is the most intrusive Hearthstone that I think exists, like, even in retail. I could be wrong about that, but there's not that many intrusive Hearthstones. There's other Hearthstones, and some have small effects. This is just really big for some
It's
reason.
really
like,
big.
You know what?
It's like-
You know what I wish that they would have made? It would have made me buy it instantly. If they gave me a Hearthstone that put a pally bubble on me. When
Oh
I'm
yeah,
hearthing
pay
and
to
I
win,
was-
baby.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'd
yeah, I
buy
mean,
that.
listen, I mean, I think it's, I don't care really. I think it's a little actually more egregious than the mount though, as far as like if people have an issue with like things looking different than TBC, this is a much bigger change than riding on a phase hunter mount. I think they did a great job making the phase hunter fit in with the aesthetic of TBC. And it is like, it's a mob that is introduced in TBC, so I think it's cool. You also get the Dark Portal Pass. So you're $70. Oh, I don't think we even talked about the price, did we? It's $69.99, and it will come with the Dark Portal Pass, which is $40, which we just talked about. So the actual upgrade is only $30. So it's exactly the same, and you can only get one of these. So if you get the Dark Portal Pass, I think you'll probably be able to upgrade to the higher one, but you won't be able to get this and then also boost another character on your account. You just get
Yep.
the one. And then finally, 30 days of WoW time, which is worth like $15 ish. So in reality, you are paying $15 for I totally missed the Path of Illidan toy also.
Which
so you get
I
the
want to
Hearthstone.
talk about too.
Yeah, I thought I was like, something isn't right here. The Path of Illidan toy, and it causes your character's footsteps to leave flickering fellfire in their wake for a short amount of time. I actually haven't seen this effect.
This is actually, I have seen the one they put on. I'm a little bummed because I know for a fact it's not the same one. So this was a card reward from the trading card game, and I got it on Stun Dude, who was my my rogue in Wrath, and it was the coolest thing because you would use it and then you would have this buff where as you ran, your footsteps had like this green fire coming out from each of them, and it'd go about 5 steps behind you and then disappear as you ran. But I used to use it all the time. Now, what's interesting is this doesn't say it's a consumable, but the one I got from the card game, it was either 200 charges or 250 charges.
Oh yeah, this is definitely just going to be a toy.
Yeah, you're just going to be able to use it. But it looks, the graphic does look a little different than the one that I had. The one that I had, I thought looked a lot cooler. This one is a little bit more sparkly on your feet rather than leaving your footprints on the ground. Like you kind of, your feet did really light up with the original one.
Yeah.
So I can have sparkly feet for $15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fellfire feet on your feet.
Sold.
So $15. You get a mount in the Burning Crusade Classic. You get a mount in retail. You get a Dark Portal Hearthstone, which they ruined Classic with the Dark Portal Hearthstone. I think everyone here agrees, including Naismith. The Path of Illidan toy with the Fellfire feet, and you get that for $15 is basically what you get if you were going to get the Dark Portal Pass anyway for $40. Assuming you're going to buy WoW time anyway for $15-ish if you're buying month to month. And yeah, I mean the deal I think adds up pretty much like most of their collector's editions for retails and things like that, where once you get some of the benefits you're going to want anyway, like the boost and the day WoW time, the cost $70 at first is like $70, but it's not really $70. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good deal overall. Some of these toys are a little
one-time purchase, and I think that was something people were kind of worried about. It is you can just do it
this
once.
isn't a shop. Yeah, it's not a shop or anything. It's just a one-time. You spend that money, you get a couple things out of it.
And honestly, for alts and stuff, just I mean, mounts aren't that expensive, but you're going to have a mount you can use 60% at level. Although it did say level 40. So maybe you can't use it from 30 to 40. Maybe they typoed
They probably
that.
mean 30.
Yeah, maybe they
I think they
typoed
probably
that.
just mean, they might have just forgotten. I think it's actually
You
cool.
guys remember leveling when you got to level 30 and you could get a mount? It was level 30, right?
Well, it was 40 in Classic. It's 30 after we go to TBC pre-patch.
Okay. Do you remember when you got to level 40 and the gloriousness of not having to
Barrett
walk?
Bay and got the Black Stallion.
Yeah, it was when leveling got fun. Yeah, I do remember that.
But
I got that giant Kodo, and it was glorious wandering through Ungoro Crater with that giant fucking thing that pulled every goddamn mob I walked past.
Did you know that Tauren weren't supposed to have Kodo and they were just going to run really fast?
Yep, that is definitely a fact. That would have been cool.
Plane striding is awesome, and it should have stayed in the game.
I really think if druids have the forms, I really think it probably should have. That would have been really cool.
I think so. But okay, so I just want to make a point on the actual Deluxe edition. I think it's really cool that they're incorporating some TCG stuff backwards into some of this collector's edition stuff. If they continue on that path, I think it's hard to get a lot of complaints from these sort of collector's edition things. If some of these are reminiscent or an homage to the TCG, or if there's some way to get some of these items, like you said, you had it before. I think that's totally cool. I don't think that there's anything that we haven't talked about with this. The toys are cool. We knew this was coming. $70 price point is really the new thing. And yeah, it's not that much money. It's actually cheap. I think it's actually kind of a discount compared to what you get out of retail collector editions.
Yep. And we don't know for sure. I don't think they've stated yet, but we're pretty sure that you get the mount with every character.
Yeah, you would probably get the mount with every character, which, yeah, it's not quite pay to win, quote unquote, but you'll save yourself a little bit of gold if you are going to be leveling a bunch of
Yeah,
characters, or
and
you have a bunch
I
of
just want
characters.
there's going to
everybody.
be a lot
I want.
of well, Ale already created a weak aura to automatically /spit on anybody on the mount as you go by them. So there will be that metagame going on too.
There will be, but I want everybody to really think about this and realize that we are not paying for the TBC expansion.
Right.
It is given to us for free, and you have the option to donate to your Blizzard fund if you would like
See,
to get some cool
w-
things.
I
Like,
actually have a problem with that, though.
why?
One, they didn't have to create the expansion, which is why there was a
Correct, but they
cost
could have still
associated
charged
with
us.
it.
You're telling
I
me
don't
that there's
think
been no resources put in?
that's not how gamers work anymore. Like, I actually don't believe that box prices are that real of a thing. Like, think about all the
Did you
popular
pay for
games these days.
Shadowlands?
Yeah, Shadowlands, but they had to develop it. Like, that is, I do agree with some point. Like, some development time is okay for the most part, but I think
Right,
that
but
paying for
Shadowlands
Shadowlands
is
is a little
like
wonky too.
$60, right?
Mm, it's like 30 or 40, and then
Okay.
you get like the benefits or whatever of other stuff.
So I'm saying like half price even, because it's not like they just put TBC out an exact replica of what it was before. They did put time into it, and they did put a lot of
Yeah,
investment
but
into the
I pay
beta and into
$15
changing
a
it.
month. I pay for this
You
game.
pay
You're acting like this
$15
is
a
a
month
free to
for
play game.
Shadowlands.
But no, I don't. I don't play Shadowlands. I pay $15 a month for Classic. So I think it's a little weird to just ignore that fact that we're playing a 15-year-old game and paying full price of the monthly fee for it.
Dude,
I don't think games work.
Yeah, our buddy Deathblow, who used to do the High Dude podcast, makes fun of us constantly for paying the $15 a month for playing a 15-year-old game. I'm just like, dude, try it. Come on.
Listen, League of Legends, Counter-Strike, I think Apex Legends, like almost every game that's popular these days is free. Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone, almost every game is on a freemium model of some sort. So I think that paying for an expansion that already came out, like that's normal, is actually not normal for the industry at all. I think that expansions are normally, like, for an MMO, yeah, I think it's okay to pay, but it is like, this is a weird territory we're in. So I don't mind people being upset, but this is obviously how they're getting the box price out of TBC, right? The Dark Portal Pass and this. I think it's fine. I think these are fine things. I don't want to argue with
Yeah.
Mel too much about it because I think that this is fine. But yeah, it is like an old game or whatever. But they're not really making you get this at all. Nothing in here is so attractive that you got to be like, oh, I don't want to pay, but now I have to pay $70. It's not a flying mount that you get.
Yeah.
It's like a Hearthstone toy, like whatever.
This isn't the thing. If you want to be the most efficient, you do have to pay for a character boost for certain situations. Like for my situation specifically with a lock, it's just going to be extremely good to have another tailor, and period. That's just it, like, but there's definite cases where you don't have to buy it. Naismith, what do you think about the whole deluxe edition? I don't think you've chimed in much.
Sorry, like this is exactly what I thought they would do. So I don't really have strong feelings on this. They're doing everything they can to monetize the transition from classic to TBC without actually like charging people to do it. And it's like it's what I expect from them, because they would get such a big blowback if they actually did charge for a TBC expansion again.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
like having like making us pay twice for an expansion, the pretty much the exact same thing, is not something I think that would, like, I don't think classic would survive that. But
Yeah.
like the
Um,
fact that we have an additional service that they've actually never offered before, and that is the like character clone. I know we were going to talk about this later, but that's something new. Like actually keeping a classic server open is something they've never offered people before. And I think that's
Well, that is a perfect transition to what I was moving us on to right next.
You're gonna hate me.
So, yeah, but
but
we're going to let
final-
No, hold on.
Final calculation. If you want Fellfire in retail, it's a $50 card on eBay. So put that into your calculation. All right, go on.
But I don't know if they changed it. If it's the card, then it's the same card that I got, and it's only 200 to 250 charges. So
even
this is
bigger
actually
reason
better.
to buy the Deluxe edition of TBC.
hey, compare that to the $12,000 Spectral Tiger you can get from the TCG.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's not what it costs these days.
eBay,
That's what it was on eBay
Google
few
it.
days ago.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my
Because
goodness.
there's only a finite number of them left. Like, it's a very
so
small
crazy.
number. There's still boxes that are left. Like there's a whole meta for that. Like people would open up a certain amount of the cards, and then if they got like a specialty card, they knew how many specialty cards were average per box. So then they just sell the packs after that. Like it's a kind of a big thing.
I actually have one of my friends actually has a code for a Spectral Tiger, and he is saving that to sell to someone.
That's a good. I mean, at this, because like $1,000. I mean, this is gonna sound crazy, but $1,000. Okay, I understand getting a mount for $1,000. It's prestigious.
What?
$12,000 is like. Hold on, we're talking about like down payments on stuff now. We're
Did
not.
you
we're
just say
talking
you
about
would
a whole
pay
car.
$1,000?
He didn't say he would pay, but someone
could
who was
understand
very
somebody.
wealthy possibly
Yeah, I
would.
could understand. I mean, okay,
Okay.
1,000. Once you hit the 1,000 mark, it sounds crazy, but like the Spectral Tiger in my time was always like $800, $900, and yeah, it's a lot, but it's also the most show-stopping mount that exists. Like it's supposed to be expensive, but once you get to like 12,000, it's like you're not using. You no one should be using that. Oh my god.
If you were spending $12,000 on a goddamn MMO, you're gonna have to bleep this out. I'm sorry, but that means you just have fuck you money at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
you're freaking Kanye West, or actually Vin Diesel would have been a better one to say because he does play WoW.
Yeah.
Like you're Vin Diesel, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna spend $12,000 for a Spectral Tiger. You kidding?
Who was that? The most recent Superman, Henry
Yeah,
Cavill. That dude plays
yeah.
classic.
Yeah, I've been trying to get him on the show. It's never gonna happen, but I'm
Oh my
trying every outlet I can to get him. Because he's interviewed about World of Warcraft so many times, but never has he actually been asked the right questions. It's always people that
Probably
have
because
no
he's
idea.
a freaking noob, and we'll expose him if he comes on here.
Dude,
Like,
he
oh, I'm level 45.
I don't think
he
he's a
almost
noob.
I
didn't get the Superman part because he was running a mythic dungeon, like,
Yeah,
and he
retail
couldn't
And he
leave.
didn't ask. He didn't answer the phone.
I
Yeah,
completely I've ruined this podcast entirely. So classic cloning service is coming out.
perfect transition. Perfect transition. All right, the classic cloning service is coming out, and it is $35. Now, Yip, I know you've got this, but real quick, I'm going to let you go second, but I want Naismith to go first on this price point and how he feels about it.
The price point is fine. It's just I'm gonna state this just as carefully as I can, so I don't, speak too vociferously. It will be a cold day in hell before I stay on a classic server. Like, I while I have enjoyed my time here, I don't want to spend any more time than I have to there.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, I think I asked for it to be expensive because I didn't want them to make it cheap enough for me to have a reason to buy it, because I didn't want to ruin it for people that do want to stay. Because there's been a lot of people that have written in. There are people that really are kind of excited about staying Classic, and we're gonna try and have an episode with some of them at some point. But yeah, it's something at this price point, I'm not going to buy it. And I think that's probably a healthy thing for the people that are staying in Classic era. What do you
I
think?
just don't understand it, honestly. I feel like if it was something, I don't know. I'll stop talking. Who wants to stay in Nax for the rest
Yeah,
of their life? Like,
which is funny
Well-
because I feel like I'll take the Mel position this time, and like, yeah, I mean, Meldron said last time too, and this is more what I vibe with about they're just like reverse getting the box price of vanilla Classic now. Like they didn't the deluxe edition is for TBC, and then this is like the box price for vanilla classic if you like it, and it's
interesting
$35.
take. Interesting
Yeah, he
take.
said that a couple weeks ago, and I was like, that is, yeah, like I can see how that's true. It is unprecedented. Naismith earlier said like this is not something they have done before, so I think that a price associated with it makes sense. I thought I'd be more bummed about this higher price because they did do a survey where they put out a $9.99 price point, right? Where I was like, hey, that's a cool price
Well,
point. I would
did you
definitely do it
see?
for $9.99.
Okay, did you see the clip that I sent you yesterday where on Josh's podcast, he was talking about this, and one of the community members that came on his show mentioned you and said that he agreed with you that this is just insulting.
Yeah, it's just silly. I didn't actually. I don't think I watched that clip. Sorry, but
shoot.
I'll have to check it out. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just silly to ask somebody how much they want to pay and then put one of the higher price points that you asked on. I know that, like, the problem is, I don't know. And then they pin it on the community, being like, anyone who got like the $40 price point and said yes, it's their fault that it's $35.
Shame people.
I actually don't feel that strongly about it because, I mean, I think that this is kind of killing the community on those classic era servers, because maybe I would pop in from time to time and do some stuff, and that experience I probably won't get. I'm gonna say something like this is a really hard stance. On another show, I'm sure we can talk more about like kind of like a rundown of our vanilla experience. But I personally, having played this game, I've never missed a raid. I've been doing this the whole time. I don't think that classic vanilla WoW holds up as a modern game. I just don't think that I think it's good. I really liked parts of it. I'm staying for it because I think that there's a lot of hope. But I just don't think that it really holds up. When I think about playing, as I said before a million times, old school RuneScape, where they have that classic plus experience. That game is a standalone. This is a great game. It's a great MMO. This could be a main game forever. Classic vanilla does not work that way. I do not want to play any more classic vanilla. Like, I just don't want to do it.
I'm glad it came back. I'm glad I got to play through it. But I guess my question now is, if you say I sign up for the game for the first time in August, can I choose classic era server?
Yes.
So
you don't have to choose at all. You'll just make for the same price. You don't have to pay anything. We can also play classic era servers. We just have to make a new level 1 there and level them up. You just can't. You just have to pay for the copying.
Which I think for people that are just classic vanilla.
No. Hold on. You have the choice. Remember, you've actually corrected people before on the show. You have the choice. As soon as you log in on May 18th, you make the choice for each character that you have, and then you can have one or the other. And then on the other servers, you'll have a grayed out character. They actually clarified this. You'll have a grayed out character on the other server that you did pick, classic or TBC, and at that point you could pay the $35 to have it cloned over.
Right. No, I get that. So my question is that there's no way that I would clone my character because I do not want to play the end game of classic WoW for the eternity. But if I was somebody who, say, really enjoyed private servers and wanted to redo classic WoW instead of going to TBC, I would just make a new character on a classic era server and still not pay for the clone.
Yeah, but I don't think it's you can't get that same feeling that the private server community wants without Fresh. And I think Fresh is coming. It's just coming later.
But you could get a different experience. You could get hey, we're kind of fresh right now because classic era just came out, and have a server that people say, join this
it
if
could
you
be
want to start from one.
There's been community-driven ones done. There's been a few. There's been a few of them done over classic.
I think there are 3 or 4 of them that have been fairly successful, like where they have like leveled all together again, and they usually go to dead servers. I saw some screenshots because I helped moderate the WoW TBC subreddit with Josh, and we get a bunch of like photos of or screenshots of people like, hey, this is our like revival guild, and we just killed Cthulhu for the first time. So like you will get like occasionally you can find that, but you have to like actually search out
Yeah.
for a community like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that all comes back to the central way that WoW works as an MMO. And again, I'm going to compare it to RuneScape, but the WoW endgame actually isn't that good. Like, I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but the only way the WoW endgame functions is by the releasing of new content, right? Like, there's no reason you would not keep. We don't keep doing Molten Core. We don't keep doing BWL except maybe for like 1 or 2 items, which is really kind of frustrating. But the WoW endgame experience isn't that good. That's why people are burnt out from Nax.
It's a
That's
means
why
to an end.
expansions come out. Like, expansions come out because you can't just do Nax forever. Like, that's the biggest problem.
Right.
Whereas when I compare, that's why I think classic, in order for like a classic era thing to really exist, I think that classic plus thing has to exist.
Yeah,
without
they
new
need
content,
arenas and different things, new content.
I mean, I love vanilla WoW, but it's just like you look at the hardcore people who are playing, and even they had Iron Man on retail and stuff. Like, there is a level of boredom you'll reach with the end game that it's not something you can play forever. It's not designed to be that way. Whereas if you look at RuneScape, the end game starts at level 1 basically. Like, there is no true end game. So you're able to keep playing your same character even without content. You could sink in like 100,000 hours into that game. It's crazy. But with vanilla WoW, it's just there's not, you can hit max rank in PvP and then there's no more PvP to be done. There's
Right.
not a competitive ladder system like there is in TBC. Like, there isn't a real true forever end game. So that's why classic era is a little bit silly to me right now. You might want to keep playing for a little while, but you cannot keep playing a classic era for like 2 years from now with no changes.
Yeah, but how many people kept playing private servers?
They
No
played
one, right?
fresh private servers. They left.
Yeah.
Most people left even before Nax because there was no taking your gear with you.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
like, you wouldn't
I
have
don't
Bish-
understand that either, but I'm trying to.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to play, but it does seem to sort of have like a natural end to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Okay.
an arc. There's an arc to classic. Like, it seems to peak around BWL because that's when the populations were the highest, and there's been a pretty noticeable decline in populations since then. If you look at like the WoW census stuff.
Yeah, it's so tough. I totally agree, and I actually agree with the principle of it, of like it was fun during that time especially, but COVID makes looking at numbers so weird and hard because
It
everyone
does.
in like April when like ZG came out and we had the longest queues ever was also when everyone was just like, hey, I don't have to work.
You can
Like, by the
literally
way,
set your watch by
I'm
it.
not, yeah, there was a period of time where even people who could work from home, we were still trying to figure out, like, they're just like, I have off for a couple of weeks while we figure out like what the hell we're doing with this pandemic thing. So there was such a unique time for classic WoW, but I also still agree that even without COVID, you would still probably see a similar arc because that's sort of when like power increases. Molten Cores, whatever, but BWL, you're getting all this like fresher gear. People have better sets and stuff. It is a really good time to be playing. And yeah, the population, like you said, it's like a bell curve. Even with Nax being completable, not everyone who started classic WoW gets to do Nax.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, so let's try to decide if I wanted to do these in different order. Let's just do this real quick. So the PTR came up today, and it is pre-patch, and the Chronoboon Displacer wasn't in, so people speculated that the Chronoboon Displacer wasn't in TBC, but it turns out Blizzard came out and said, "Hey, Chronoboon is in. We just haven't added it yet. It will be there for anybody wanting to do Nax in pre-patch," which I thought was interesting because that means it is going to stay in TBC. It's just only usable before level 63.
Well, we don't know that it's staying, right? They just specifically said that pre-patch
They
it
said
was staying.
pre-patch. They didn't say it would go into TBC, right?
No, it's not in
and-
pre-patch currently. They said it's going into TBC.
No,
for
yeah, no, I'm
anybody.
telling you.
Oh,
You said it might be going into TBC, but all
just
they said is
during
going into pre-patch.
Gotcha. Yeah,
I think that it might then revert on launch of TBC,
Yeah.
where you won't be able to like store it for like out in the world stuff.
Yeah, that's
Because I
when
think that
it turns into the broken gizmo or whatever it's called. Like once your TBC has launched, I think is what they're saying.
it is funny though. Like there's just so much, especially even with like we were talking about the mount speed, and we are wondering if they were just going to hand out a free 100% mount to everybody without cost. Everyone's got such a negative. Everyone just like jumps onto stuff so quickly. That's like another reason they really need to be more. It's not transparent, but when they do not tell people a lot of stuff, it is like, wait, are we not going to be able to use this for pre-patch? And everyone's in a frenzy over just such a tiny little thing because on PTR you can't use it. No one wants to wait for information to come out anymore.
We're just
Yeah,
all
I feel
worried.
like that's an us problem, though.
Well, there is
Right.
a market. Like there's a market on YouTube for
Oh,
outrage
yeah.
reaction to any news we get about classic TBC.
Yeah, it's not
Like-
just YouTube. I mean, Wowhead does the same thing. If you actually look at the amount of content Wowhead pumps out, it's like every little thing has an article, a standalone article about it.
Right, because it sells, and they kind of start the frenzy of people questioning this when in all reality a lot of people wouldn't question not knowing this exact thing about this item, right? And world buffs aren't supposed to even be an issue in TBC, so why are we even really that
It's just the
concerned about
pre-patch.
it?
It's just it's 2 weeks a time. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think that we were originally going to talk about this before they said they're keeping it for pre-patch. Not that they're keeping it for it's like it is. It just is.
Well, and you're
It's
not
damned
going
if
to
you
get
do, damned
me.
if you don't, though. Like for Blizzard, they will get reamed if they do say something, knowing like it's tech and things are going to go wrong, deadlines are going to get pushed, and if they had to tell you every time they pushed a deadline, people would riot 23 times instead of once.
Well,
Like,
it's like with the beta having like stuff that was BOE instead of BOP, like the primal
Right.
nethers and stuff like that. Like the people definitely jump onto stuff like this immediately with no.
I saw no less than 10 videos on YouTube about the primal nethers being BOE.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah.
dude,
Like-
it's beta. Like,
Yeah.
that's what you're supposed to catch things in beta.
Yeah,
But
well,
hey, listen. If I make a career out of this at some point in time, scrub this from the internet. I'm gonna start doing news on
Well,
YouTube.
that's exactly what I was going to say. Basically, you're not going to get me to say anything bad about Wowhead because they make making the show notes a lot easier. So
Well, okay.
thank you
let me put it-
for doing
I-
articles on every little thing so I can pick
I
and
do this
choose.
stuff for a living. They're doing the right thing by putting out content for news like
Yeah.
this. This is how the internet functions now. So I totally understand. It's just it just gets people into a frenzy.
Yeah, but they put out articles, and their articles aren't necessarily like reaming something about Blizzard.
Oh yeah. People
But-
bring that conclusion on their own.
The Redditors, make it a big deal. I'm not a
I mean,
Redditor.
we make it a big
Is
deal in
that
our
what
own
it's
guild
called?
too. Like it's not just like the internet as a whole. When you have a 40-person guild, people have all kinds of opinions flying around and things just quickly. I don't know.
Well,
That's all.
and being negative sells, unfortunately, and it's an unfortunate thing. It's something we have never really tried to do. We try to be on the positive side more often than not, and sometimes we get called fanboys for that. But I think we definitely say that we don't like when they're doing something. Quite often, we're just often positive about the game because we love it.
In all
For-
honesty, like it's fun to write negative stuff, like negative
It-
reviews. Like it really is. People love like wallowing in negativity. Have you ever seen a review of the movie The Last Jedi? Like
people are putting out new reviews now, trashing The Last Jedi.
I mean,
I'm not
Blue
even
Milk.
joking.
Come on, Blue Milk.
A reanalysis of The Last Jedi. Yeah, I think that's just human nature, though. Like,
I think
think about
that-
going to lunch or going to hang out or like a happy hour with coworkers. People are just bitching all the time.
This
Dude,
might be my
yes.
most controversial take that I have ever put out on the internet, but I kind of like The Last Jedi. So
Oh God.
We'll talk
Disconnected
post
from the
show.
call, Bob.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll
there
talk
were
about it,
parts of it
You
that
were-
I liked, but like I just didn't like the way they messed up the character of Luke Skywalker. And thank you for goodbye, Kathleen Kennedy. Sorry,
You are going
don't
to get
don't
so
get me on a
much
rant.
hate for this episode.
Don't give me
Because
no.
you're
We
wrong.
need to stop. Yip knows he brought up on a YKP run Star Wars one time, and I lost my shit.
That was so funny. I
I'm
started,
pretty sure I
I started
was
saying Star Wars was for
sleeping.
kids, and Bob was like freaking out.
Oh,
I was
I'm
like,
pretty
"Come
sure I
on,
was sleeping and I woke up to him yelling at you guys on
sorry."
Discord.
Like I was like, Jar Jar Binks is a great character because Star Wars is for kids.
Are you, okay, I'm close to rage quitting now.
Let's move
All right.
on.
All right, we're stopping. Okay, so the last thing we have on the agenda, and it's pretty important. So, okay, just to preface it, basically the Arena Season 1 is coming a few weeks, quote unquote, after the launch, or after the launch of Burning Crusade. So not the pre-patch, but after June 1st, a few weeks. So maybe 3 weeks. But what I really wanted to talk about was the PvP changes that they made. And let me just kind of go through them really quick, and then we can kind of talk about them as we go. If I can find my notes on them, dang it. Okay. PvP. Okay, so PvP gear is changing big time. We talked about this a while back, and later seasons of PvP gear, the shoulders and the weapon required 1850 rating and 2200 rating for the different items. Shoulders was the one that required 2200 rating. I had argued for no rating because I feel like it makes the rich get richer, but now they've completely changed everything. Okay, now there are 5 items that are going to require rating. Legs, 1550. Chest, 1600. Head, 1700. Weapon, 2050. Shoulders, 2200. This is just, they did clarify, because it did say equip and purchase at one point, but they said it's just a purchase. If you drop down, you can still wear the
What a
the
nightmare
stuff
that
that you
would be.
purchased. Yeah, it's a pretty big roller coaster. But so they're also changing it to where you start at 0 rating with a team instead of at 1500. And I say that this was the only change that they should have made. But now, so now on top of that, there's a new rank for. So Gladiator is going to be 0.5%, Duelist is top 3%, Rival is 10%, Challenger's 35%. There's a new 0.1% of top teams that are going to get a new title. And why can't I find that title now?
Infernal Gladiator.
Thank you. Yeah, Infernal Gladiator. So there is so much that has changed. Oh, and you'll be able to buy every piece of our arena gear for honor and badges after each season. But this is such a big change to how everything works.
You haven't even said the change that affects me personally the most, which I think is the biggest change altogether, which is back in the day, you had to play 30% of your team games for the week to get arena points. Instead, this is actually insane. This is ruining everything for me personally, and a major reason why I'm not sure about blacksmithing anymore. That we were talking about earlier is to qualify for arena points, your personal rating must be within 150 of the rating of your team, with at least 10 games played, and you must have participated in 30% of your team's games the previous week.
Yeah.
So what this is doing is it's helping to prevent boosting, which we've talked about being a problem. They're fixing it in a way that changes how it worked in TBC, and I don't like it at all, because I used to hop teams all of the time for fun, but now I'll have a personal rating, and I won't be able to actually accomplish what I need to accomplish and have fun in arena on the same character. If you want to go hard, you need a consistent team you're on now.
You
Dude,
need to buy a
and
booth.
if
And
they show, if their MMR system is anywhere close to what the Overwatch MMR system is, it'll be broken. It'll make more sense.
This is all like retail stuff for the most part. I have a
That's
feeling
what
it
I've
should
heard.
be okay. I think it'll be okay. I think the actual MMR, and I think that like the points for the chess and stuff is pretty crazy, but I think they are kind of retrofitting what they believe to be a better PvP system on top of it. But this arena points thing, I love hopping onto bad teams or like doing weird comps on another team and then like joining back with my real team and things like that. But
well, I
this is
think
going to make everything so much more confusing and hard
Yep.
to accomplish.
I think that's the biggest
Do you-
problem is that it makes it so that you have to play the metagame. Because if you try something with a new team or with your current team and it fails, then there's no way to like get back to where you know you should be with the meta team, right? But at the same time, it's like, I guess you just have to grind back up there. If you're that good, you're going to get there quickly.
Yep. Are you telling me that I can't actually have a 4 paladin, 1 shaman team to just pray for Wind Fury procs?
I mean,
actually
honestly, you
have-
can do
You
whatever you want
can.
in fives.
No, you absolutely can. You just have to do that every week now.
Yeah,
now
because
it's
you
no
go
longer like a
negative?
one-time.
This is
Yeah.
my question. Can you go negative?
No, you start at 0, and
I know, but if you lose.
I don't think you can go negative, but I never got that low, so I don't know.
Okay, so I think that's a good change because before, if you started at 1500 and you were with like new people and you're trying to figure things out and you get down, like way down, then it's so much harder to get all the way back up to your starting point and then get better, you know?
Yeah,
Actually,
people
isn't
just
that
used to
hard.
create
You
a new
just
team.
disband.
Yeah.
You just disband and start a new team.
Yeah, that's what everyone did. You just start a new team at 1500 again if you got too low, or you bring in a ringer like Yip. Or I was Adele back in the day. This is before Adele was a singer.
Sure.
What, was Adele a popular singer in TBC? You can't.
I don't know.
Yip knew about her
Um,
before she was big.
But yeah, I mean, you could bring in a ringer to try to like boost your team score up. It's just very like it does. I don't know. I think the MMR system is a way better system than their ELO system as far as like fair PvP goes. This is an overall better system. If you're taking PvP seriously, this is a much better system, undeniably. But when I think about my main character, who's going to be my warrior, who's PvE focused, but I'm going to want to do fun stuff in PvP. The problem is I need those points every week in order to purchase PvP gear for my PvE set. But now, if I go join a new team that's worse than me, I won't get arena points at all. Because to
So you
qualify
have
for
to
arena points, you have to be
boost another
within.
warrior.
Yeah, and if I didn't play on that team last week, I won't get any points either. So it's really like you can't just go have fun. It's just it's just
But I
really
don't think
bizarre to me.
arenas meant to be fun, right? Like battlegrounds are meant to be fun.
Yeah, I guess I'm
Arena-
just thinking about how I played it in TBC. But that's what I mean. They're fundamentally changing that part of TBC because TBC was fun for me that way. You could do that, hop around on teams, help out your friends to boost
Yeah.
their rating a little bit, which I understand they don't want
But
you to
do you
do, I
know-
guess.
But do you realize how much more exploited that would be now than it was
Right.
then?
That's why they're making
right?
those changes.
Like we're in 2021. We saw what happened in Classic. We know what's going to happen in Classic TBC Arena. And if it didn't change, I feel like it would just be a wash. It
Okay,
would
but
be
you
a
can
horrible system.
implement MMR and personal rating without some of these other stipulations. To me, and I could just be reading this wrong, if you join a team sometime in the season, you will forfeit all of your
That week's points.
all of your arena points for the week.
Yeah.
I guess the difference is you would have to have like a 5s team with your guild that's point is just to farm arena points for the week, and then you go have fun in 2s and 3s. That would be the solution
Yeah.
because you'll still get arena points from your 5-man group that you're doing with your guild, and then you can go mess around in 2s and 3s, which will probably be the new meta of like messing around. Because you do get more point. Well, I guess we don't know anymore, but
They
in
haven't
TBC for the same
said that,
MMR
yeah.
at 5s, yeah.
Yeah,
So
you
it
got
is like
significantly more points at 5v5 than you did for 2
exactly
and 3. 2
Yep.
and
right.
3.
So for PvE, 5v5 is probably still going to be meta. I don't know. I need to digest it more, but this is a huge overhaul with like I don't think we can even understand all the problems or good things that will come for it, but it definitely cuts down on exploitation. It's just how much does it cut down on like what normal people want to do for fun? I don't really know, I guess yet, but yeah.
Yeah, I think starting teams at 0, you're going to get significantly less points if you're a 200 rating. So I thought that was enough to add. I don't think having the rating requirement on gear is necessary at all, with especially the other changes that they did. This is classic Blizzard. It was classic Overwatch. Make way too many changes at one time, and then you don't know what actually screwed you up.
I like the change personally. I think that it's so there will still be battleground resilience gear that you can get, I'm
Wait,
sure.
which
It says
change do you like? Because there's so many changes we just talked
the
about.
one that you're talking about with points on
With-
more items. I think it's cool. I think it's cool to have items that require some level of skill to gain. I don't think
Yeah.
that the difference
I
is
think
so
the
large.
titles are perfect for that. Like, I just don't think you should lock people out of
disagree.
gear. I think people.
I think okay, but look at compare it to PvE. You only get I only have the Nax healer mace because our guild was good enough to get to kill
Now,
Kel'Thuzad.
I'm about to say something real controversial, and I hope that I don't get shit on
let's
for
hear
this. But PvP is a lot harder than PvE.
Oh,
by an
okay, here we go.
astronomical amount.
Exactly. I completely agree with you in some version, but does that mean that every PvEer should get a free weapon from just losing
Right.
5v5 every week?
If
I don't
it
think
takes
so.
Exactly.
well, starting at 0 though, they're going to take a long time to get that weapon. See what I'm saying?
You're not wrong. The higher ends of PvP are some of the hardest stuff to do in WoW.
Period.
Yeah, it's unpredictable. It's not.
You have to know so much about like the comps that you are going to be playing against and how to counter them that it is infinitely more difficult than just memorizing during phase 2 I stand here and I do this.
For sure.
Yeah, that's why if you get a really good PvPer in your PvE group, you're like, hell yeah. Because you know they're going to be good at PvE if they're amazing at PvP.
That is not true at all.
Yeah.
Really?
My TBC guild had a gladiator warrior, and he was utterly mediocre throughout all of TBC.
Well, but I mean, he was a warrior. He probably never like if they're giving you their full thing, you know, he was probably staying PvP spec. He was probably you know what I mean. If they're giving you their full attention, they're going to be able to be as good as a PvEer.
It's a different type of mindset, though.
He actually didn't like what he did. He had a druid partner, and they would partner up like for the last 3 weeks of every PvP season and just like grind out a 2600 rating. Like it was insane what they would do. But like
okay, well, I mean, I was just saying on from what I've seen across, you know, dozens and dozens of different people, that's been the case. But I'm sure there's definitely outliers. I was just saying the percentage is probably higher. You get a good PvP or you're going to get a good PvE.
The thing is, this is just an anecdotal experience for me. So it is completely possible that I am completely wrong in this like scenario. But yeah, there are some PvPers that do make very good PvE players because they can adapt to situations usually faster than PvE players can. And a lot of times the PvP gear actually has a lot of stamina, so they might be able to survive some mistakes that other people can't.
And I think that's why they made this change, is because they didn't want welfare epics to be talked about. But I honestly think starting them at 0 instead of 1500 gets rid of that welfare epics.
You are getting confused about MMR, I think. You are seeing 0 and still thinking TBC arena. But MMR is not going to be like Elo, where you're like, oh, I gained 5 points from my victory. Oh, I gained 10 points as a team as a victory. It's based on how difficult your opponents are. So those first few matches starting at 0, if you're a good PvPer, you will boost up to where you belong much faster than starting at 1500. In my head, 2200 MMR, what they're talking about, will probably be equivalent to that 1850 arena score before. So you're feeling like, oh, I had to go from 0 to 2200 instead of 1500 to 1850. But I think that the equivalence will be the same. I don't think that they're making it harder to get it. They're just
Yeah.
putting a
What
little
you're
bit of a
saying,
barrier.
hold
on
on,
some of
hold
these
on.
other
Let's
items.
clarify. What you're saying is that, say, a team of 2, both people, one person has 2100 MMR, one person has 2200 MMR. They create a new team. They've never played together. They're
Their
starting
personal
something
MMR
new.
stays the same.
Okay, but
Yeah.
they start their team. It starts at 0. Are you saying with one win they'll jump up like 400 points? Next win 400 points, like to get them to where they're supposed to be?
No.
See,
We
and
don't
that's
know
what I
exactly,
want to
but
know.
it will be yeah, but in retail, that's like similar to how it works. Like your MMR will stay the same. It's the same way at the end of a Overwatch season, you're not against bronzes again,
Dude.
trying to figure out if you should
Okay,
belong in bronze.
Winky would
You're
have been
against-
great to have on for this discussion because he PvPs in retail. That would have been so great to have him on.
Okay, so
Yeah.
question though, if I have an MMR now, then if I have a 5s like serious team and a 2s and 3s like throwaway team, that will affect my MMR.
Your MMR
I think
should
it's
be
MMR,
different teams.
I think it's by
Personal
the 3
MMR,
different,
though.
but it's personal by the 3 different sets: 2s, 3s, and 5s.
Is it?
We're guessing that we don't. They haven't clarified.
I don't even, so the problem is we're not equipped to have this conversation.
Yeah,
getting
we
into
are
the
speculating.
weeds. We are getting.
All right, listeners, sorry to break into the podcast mid-conversation, but the conversation kind of just went in circles because everyone that was on the show just doesn't really understand this new MMR change. So luckily in Vargflocken, we have a retail gladiator player in vetting. He's been in our guild for a bit now. He plays a rogue. He's really nice guy. He's explained some things to me in the past, so we're going to bring him on the show real quick here for a short explanation of how he thinks it might be playing out compared to the way retail plays out currently. So welcome to the show, Vetting. How are you doing?
Doing good, dude.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for this because all of us on the show were completely clueless of these PvP changes, but do you want to kind of give us a rundown of how retail arena works with the MMR points that you get? Just go ahead and go into it, and I'll interject if I have a question, okay?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be the same as TBC or how much they're going to make it the same, but I don't know. Like retail, basically, when you hit max level, you'll start at 0 personal rating, and then I think you have like a default MMR of around 1500, and depending on who you group with, if they have a higher MMR, it'll usually average the two. When you start at 0, obviously you'll have higher MMR gains. You'll gain anywhere between like 100 and 200 to start, up until around 1500, or if your group MMR is lower than 1500. So you would expect to get high MMR gain till around that rating, and then from there, regardless of how high your group MMR is, you would gain around 20 per win. So that's kind of where you start really pushing around that rating.
See, and that was something that in the article, at least I didn't see it, but that would make a lot more sense if you're starting like on a brand new character with like a 1500 MMR, then your team's starting at 0. And you were saying that, if you're starting like that, if you start just winning right off the bat, you're going to be making huge jumps of like 200 points at the beginning. Did I catch that right?
Yeah, so your personal MMR, like if you're at 0 personal MMR and you're queuing at, even if you're 1500, 2K, regardless, you'll get max points, which is I think around like 190s right now.
Okay.
So you'll get huge MMR jumps or personal rating jumps like when you first start queuing, but your MMR will also be pretty volatile.
Okay. Now, also a question I had in retail is, do they have the rating requirements for a lot of pieces of gear in retail? Because in TBC, it came later for later seasons that you had to have just, it was like 1850 and 2050 to get the weapon, then the shoulders. Is that something like? Is this change more like retail? Like, just kind of explain it to me because I'm retail dumb.
Yeah, no, they made a bunch of changes in retail now. So basically, in retail, you have like rating requirements for upgrades. So you have like a base item level. So like I think it's 200 right now in retail. So you could buy, like, everyone has the same conquest cap per week. So you can get theoretically the same amount of pieces as everyone else per week outside of like the vault, which is just RNG. But you start out at a base item level of 200, and then there's like bracket jumps. So I think there's like 1400, 1600, 1800, 2100, and 2400. And then that'll be like your bracket jump you need to hit to upgrade your gear, which I think will be a lot different than TBC, because TBC will basically just be like, you can't buy shoulders unless you're 2100. So it is a kind of different in that regard.
Yeah. Okay. So you upgrade in retail. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. Like, and something we talked about on the pod is that, something that I was worried about was the fact that I felt like it would make the rich get richer. Nobody agreed with me. Like, they made the case about you could get the season prior gear from the vendor, which I do get. But if I remember correctly, that's not like a small grind to do those BGs in TBC. And I don't know that anybody really knows how it's going to turn out here. But I mean, it was a pretty big grind if you wanted to upgrade to those old level PvP things.
Yeah, I have no idea exactly how TBC is going to work. I think in general, though, like, the higher rating you are, either the faster you'll get gear or the better your gear will be. And I think that's always pretty consistent. So it seems like now it's just basically, the higher rating you are, the more pieces you'll be able to get in TBC, or like actual pieces like shoulders and all that. Where in retail, it's just like you can pick and choose what you want to upgrade. But if you're low rating, you're not going to be able to get to that higher item level.
Gotcha. Okay, well, that actually has cleared up like quite a bit for me. Like, I'm a little nervous about the changes because they're really big changes and it's a lot of change. But I just wanted to kind of understand how retail worked, because it looks like they tapered a lot of the way, at least the MMR and team point systems work. So just one more question about retail is, in the writing up for the TBC thing, they talked about not being able to get points if your MMR isn't closer. Like, is there any time in retail where you don't get points, even if you're in, or just can you not even create a team that you're not in the same MMR with?
So, yeah, I mean, there is no team creation in retail. Like, you can queue with a different 3 people every arena. Like, your MMR will change. And to answer like your points question, it's like, yeah, like if I'm 1900, like, say I'm like 2100 CR personal rating, and I queue with someone who's like 1300, and we win a game at 1600 MMR, like, I will get 0 personal points.
Okay, so the TBC thing might be different then. Okay.
Yeah, if they make teams, it's completely different. I'm sure there'll be like some sort of team MMR. I have no idea how that works, but in retail, there is no team. You only have personal rating, and your like team MMR will just change based on who you're playing with.
So it's kind of like queuing with people for BGs. Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, one of the biggest things we were worried about was just, will you not be able to jump teams because you just won't get points, and they talked about having to play the games with that team the week prior to just to get points. So like, are you gonna have to take a gap in points to change teams? And there's a lot of questions we have, but I know you don't know the answers to that. We just wanted to bring you on to kind of explain the retail stuff so that we could maybe better guess how this is going to work in TBC.
For sure, dude. Yeah, happy to help.
Yeah, dude. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, coming in and talking to us. Do you want to do any shout outs? I know you don't do streaming or social media, but do you have any shout outs you want to do?
I got no one. Sorry, dude. I can shout out you, man.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the help, and yeah, we'll have to have you on sometime. Like if we do PvP round table come after TBC starts.
For sure, dude.
All right, guys, we're going to send you back to the show. We have an add-on of the week.
We do have an add-on of the week. It's the one that you listed that I've never used before. If you want me to tell people about it,
All
the
right.
ring menu.
Yeah, let's move on to the add-on of the week.
The add-on this week is something called Ring Menu, which I've never used before, but I've used it in retail before. Not this particular one, but something similar. What it does is it allows you to create an action bar in a kind of cool little circle that it just displays your action bar differently and will hide it if you're not pushing a particular hotkey. So what it's really useful for me that I've used it in the past is consumes. So right now, my action bars are like full of these random buttons that I don't need,
Same.
except when I'm rebuffing or when I'm reconsuming. So it basically just lets you hide an action bar, pull it up into a cool little wheel. It kind of reminds me of like Grand Theft Auto or something, where I'm going to bring up like my weapons wheel and then select the weapon I want to use. It's the same thing where you're going to be able to select, I want to pop Mongoose Potion, then I bring up my wheel and I hit Mongoose Potion. So it's really cool. I would definitely check it out. It's called Ring Menu. There are other add-ons that do it, but I don't know how many work for Classic. So I would say check this one out. I think it is working right now and maintained. So it's definitely worth checking out, especially if you don't quite have a handle on your consumes.
Dude, it's been like I've been using it the past couple weeks, and it's been really nice because you can set up different ones, and I set it up for one of my mouse buttons. So when I click, wherever my cursor is, the circle shows there. And so I have it definitely set up for consumes because as a Fury Warrior, I have a ton. So I have it set up to where I could just quickly do all my consumes. I don't have to search through my bags where they're at. But you could actually take this add-on and make multiple ring menus with different buttons. So if you want to do a lot of things, you could. It's nice that it shows up where your mouse is, and I've been really enjoying it, and I definitely think it's something that you guys should check out, because I've seen a lot of people use it. Like I've seen Crix use it, I've seen Snowbee use it, and those are the people that I saw using it that I was like, I need that.
Bob,
Yeah, and not everyone's a big gamer either. They might not be comfortable with certain buttons on their keyboard and stuff like that. Like it's okay to look at alternative ways to handle your action bars.
I am sympathetic to the amount of consumables that Fury Warriors need. Like considering like 30 slots of my bags are like dedicated completely to consumables. And then like the other 30 slots are dedicated to like the various resist gear we actually have to wear.
Yeah, dude, try gearing on a warrior that takes too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I told somebody I needed 80 candles a raid to buff people, which is literally what takes so much space in my bags. And this other priest was like, you shouldn't need 80 candles. And I'm like, you're right, because there's like 5 priests in our guild. Weird.
It's weird how that happens. Yep. But
it's like weird. I only need 5 candles.
Yeah, right? Like I don't want any candles.
Oh, jeez.
Oh man. All right. Well, we're gonna start closing out the episode. We want any of you retail PvPers to please message us. We'd love to do the episode where you educate us on how this works, because there's so much we just don't know, and we would like to know. So definitely going to reach out to Winky, but anybody else who has been doing a lot of retail PvP, please get in contact with us. You can do so by going to wcrpodcast@gmail.com. You can also message us on Twitter @WCReloaded. If you want to follow the Mash Those Buttons Network, that's @the Mash Network. If you'd like to interact with us at times, make sure to ping us if you do. But if you'd like to interact with us, please join our Mash Discord at mash.gg/Discord. How can you help us out? We need more ratings. We had an episode without ratings, and we're gonna cry in a pillow tonight. So don't make Mel cry. We don't want to do that. So send us reviews.
Definitely.
Oh, that's all right. So Did I miss anything? Did I miss? Oh, and also, if you ever want to come out and hang out with us live, talk and chat, that is twitch.tv/mash those buttons. And check out our YouTube if you want to see the stuff that I cut out of the actual audio version. It's kind of fun. YouTube.com/mash those buttons.
Which, by the way, might be a lot for this episode.
Probably all of our PvP rant, but whatever.
Yep. I'm telling you, on the audio podcast, it's just going to be me, like, sounded awesome in the PvP contest.
How does someone write Yip and you cut me and I'm like, I'm Yip.
Bob, that's a good point. I cut it from earlier in the episode. No, I don't. I don't do it that bad.
You know what? I think I'm wrong, Bob. I think you're absolutely right on this point. That's the sound clip you can use. Put that in anywhere.
Just do it like through everything I say throughout it.
Yeah. No.
Oh man, no. I definitely don't do that. I just usually try. The biggest thing about the audio podcast is I try to space out, because all of us will start talking before the other's done. The audio podcast is nice because it spaces out so that you as an audio listener can hear what actually is said. But sometimes I leave it in because there's 4 of us talking and I can't make sense of that. So with that being said, well, I mean, I am the host, so it is my fault.
Yeah. Ball rolls up.
Yeah, it sucks. Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Mel Overwatch, or you can find me on Whitemane on Mel Arena. Send me a DM. Tell me how much you hate Bob. It's great.
She's actually inviting you to sneak into her DMs. Ooh, okay.
That's weird. You just made that really awkward. Now you need to cut that out.
Where can we find you, Yip, and how can we sneak in your DMs?
Hello, you can. Well, it's funny. You can't message people on YouTube anymore, I think. Like, they took away all of that stuff.
Which has been horrible for me with the competition we did.
So you can check out my YouTube, youtube.com/cognitivePit. But if you're trying to get into my DMs, you probably want to tweet at me at Cognitive Pit, I guess. That might be easier. I would love to say that just check me out in game, but somebody mailed me a couple weeks ago. I think it was the person who wrote mailed a letter to you in game for a review, and I just never even replied to them. So in game, if you're gonna send me a letter, I'm awful.
Oh yeah, I did have somebody message me in game literally as I was logging out, and it was like 3 seconds to log out, and I was like, oh.
And you're like, what was that name?
Yeah, it was luckily a name that I could remember, but yeah, it's a struggle.
Join the Discord that Bob talks about sometimes. The Mash Discord is the easiest way to add us, and we're on Discord all the time. So.
Yep. But definitely add us, because until that actually becomes like more popular, we don't check it every time. We're bad. Just add us, and we'll come talk to you. All right, Naismith, where can we find you? I know you don't do the Twitter and stuff. I know, but do you have any place where people could get in contact with you, like Josh's Discord, maybe?
Yeah, if you really want to find me, you can find me on Crowang. I am on Stalag Discord, or Stalag Horde, if you want to talk to me. You can find me easily on Discord. I am a moderator of the Countdown to Classic Discord. DM me there if you really want to talk. Unfortunately, my job does not allow me to have a whole lot of social media presence, so that's pretty much the only 2 ways you can get a hold of me. I might be starting a YouTube channel pretty soon, so I'll
cool.
do something. I might do something there, but I don't know.
Teaser. You heard it here first.
Honestly, that sounds like a whole lot of work, and
it is a lot of work to make content.
I have 2 small children, so you can probably hear them in the background of any Countdown to Crusade episode that I am on. Yep,
and you probably hear them on some of this one too. I'll try to cut out as much as I can.
Children are lovely.
Hey, it's endearing. We like it. You can find me on Twitter at blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. I've actually been streaming Quite a bit, like not long streams, but I've been doing that at twitch.tv/BlazinBob. A lot of the listeners have dropped by to say hi, and I appreciate it. So anytime you want to do that, I would love to talk to you. And if I can, I will answer whatever questions you have. Well, guys, I don't know about you, but my anxiety is still flowing, and TBC's coming fast.
You're such a weirdo. I'm
TBC
fine.
is coming.
I know I am. I was just driving around today and I was like, why is my heart going so fast? This is not normal. I'm a weird person, right?
Listen, my watch tells me every time my heart rate's high, and it really annoys me. I kind of want to turn it off, but it always happens at like crucial times, like in a raid. Like when we're like really struggling to get a boss down, it'll be like heart rate's high. And I'm like, fuck off.
Or like when Bob's trying to tell you did something wrong while leveling.
Oh yeah. Heart rate goes through the roof.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming on. Thank you, Naismith, for coming back on. If you want to hear him again, remember you can check out episode 33 to get some background. We're going to get out of here. We'll see you next week with a lot more. It's going to be a crazy couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's TBC frenzy for the next couple of weeks. So soon.
It's exciting.